Nothing on this show is authorized by the Food and Drug Administration, and nothing said here is intended to treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease. Contact your physician before starting a diet or exercise regimen, including supplementation. This is not medical advice and is for entertainment purposes only.
This is the Supworks Podcast. My name is Joey Savage, TK Knox, our lovely host, and our guest today is Josh Winscott.
Pleasure to have me.
Of the great Bentonville.
You always say TK Knox. That's weird.
It's a better radio name. It is.
Taylor Knox?
Look, they don't know. They don't know. Your middle name could be Kenneth. But it's not.
That'd be weird.
Then you'd be TKK. TKK.
Anyways. We've had quite a night already.
Oh, yeah. Our shoot at the store, we went to Walmart. We did a Walmart workout, wearing Walmart clothes, lifting Walmart things.
Helping Walmart customers.
Josh did.
Make the
Did you know Josh used to work there? He let everyone know.
I mean, I think so. Y'all right there, Max. So, getting into this, one of the things, all right, so I have a million questions about this. What you probably,
Yeah.
you have your preset questions, but I like having my idiot questions too, because there's going to be multiple sides of this. As far as we know, you used to be a buyer for Walmart.
I was. Yeah.
But how old were you when you started that position?
I'm going to date myself. I was 28.
You were 28?
28.
All right. All right. So this is what leads me into this.
Yeah.
28-year-old guy suddenly becomes a buyer for the sports nutrition section at Walmart. How did you get there?
Oh, gosh. Funny stories. So how much time do you have? All night?
We got about 2 hours, but
2 hours.
You got about 10 minutes on this question.
So, oh, gosh. From a Walmart career, I went and started in stores like a lot of other people. And I worked in the garden center while I was going to school.
Garden center.
The garden center was awesome. You learn a lot of things. But Walmart was a ton different back then. So they had a lot more.
How old were you when you started there?
They got rid of the beta fish.
I was 19. They got rid of the fish. I mean, I used to take care of the fish.
Oh,
there was a
man.
guy that took care of the fish. He was one of my best friends at Walmart.
Damn.
Yeah.
My
guy.
wife the other day, she was like, "Hey, you know that Walmart got rid of the fish?"
I kind of got pissed off about that.
Well, that's a very random thing, like a thought to come into your head.
Yeah.
So 19 to 28 is a pretty good chunk of it being loyal
Pretty good chunk.
to Uncle Sammy.
Yeah, and it was in different capacities. So I started in stores, went to school, and then from school, I actually started in smaller supplement shops.
What were you studying in school?
Business management.
Business management.
So very basic. I actually went to school for physical therapy. And
But you still had your feet in supplements the whole time.
well, I was a high school kid that got bullied that wanted to get huge. Of course I did.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair enough. And I cheered in college. So the whole fitness lifestyle was
That's a whole different.
It's a whole different podcast.
Element of athleticism right there.
Yeah.
yeah. So from there, I mean, outside of school, went to Complete Nutrition, which was pretty big back in, this would have been 2015.
Completes were a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had
Did they get bought out? What happened to Complete Nutrition?
they just shut down or something.
Okay.
But I had a great manager there. He taught me, first job in really supplement sales, how to pitch to people, what their biggest claim to fame was a slimming pill, which is just like a CLA compound, right?
Yeah.
$60 CLA pill. Okay. That's, how do you sell that to somebody? Well, somebody that's got pockets full of money that wants to lose weight, right? So from there, went to a company called Your Total Fitness Shop.
Okay.
And they're pretty big in Arkansas, which is where I'm from. And
How many stores do they have?
5.
Impressive.
Yeah. So they do a decent amount of business. And I worked in the Rogers location, and then I went to Little Rock, which is Central Arkansas, and I managed their bigger location.
That's
right?
a big time right there.
Big time. It was like $1 million P&L. I thought I was king of the world, right? And the goal of that was to rekindle the business, kind of get customers involved from the area. We're kind of on the outskirts of Little Rock, and it worked. I was there for 3 months.
Only 3 months.
I was 3 months in Little Rock, turned the business around, and then I went back to Walmart in a different capacity,
Okay.
working in, call it store planning or realty. So I went and built Walmarts.
Okay.
Went and built and remodeled Walmarts. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just crazy getting back to that.
How old were you when you got back in doing the retail planning?
21.
21.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really fast turnaround, corporate exposure, operations exposure, lots of customer interactions, dealing with problem customers. I mean, you shop at what? Walmart for toilet paper. If I move your toilet paper and you don't know where it goes, what do you do?
I freaked the fuck
Okay,
out.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So we dealt with that.
Okay.
A lot of the time. And so that really helped shape like my understanding of store operations, and then coming into project management roles, which is the next two steps, right? I went back to the home office, project management, dealing with store planning on the back end, went to a Sam's Club, and I put in meat slicers.
Okay.
And I put in the cleaning robots for Walmart, or for Sam's Club.
Sam's Club.
And did that for a capacity. And then my wife happened to get pregnant, and going back to your Total Fitness shop, I was like, I want an energy drink.
How old were you now? Going back?
2021. This would have been 2021, so pretty recent.
So you go back to Total Fitness shop after you've been doing all this retail planning and merch stuff.
Yeah.
So let's look at this on a broad scale. Walmart,
Yep.
the completes and all that, and then go into the Total, what was it called?
It was your Total Fitness shop.
Your Total Fitness.
YTFS.
Back to Walmart / Sam's, and then back to your Total Fitness.
Well, that was just part of the story. So that I'm setting up the stage for how I got the job as a merchant. Okay. Wife is pregnant. Alani Nu wasn't in Walmart yet. She wanted a cotton candy grape. Alani Nu, right? So we were like, all right, we're going to go on the town. It was a Saturday. I'm going to stop in and get a drink. It was a 10-minute, it was supposed to be a 10-minute interaction. And within that time, they came to me as we walked in and said, well, Walmart's trying to poach our manager because they wanted somebody who knew supplements to come be a merchant at Walmart. And call it divine appointment, whatever you will. Found the guy's name.
Oh, are they?
I was like, yeah, okay, well, I have a job. Every door is an open door until you close it. And emailed Matt at the time, was the merchant.
Okay.
And I said, hey, I've got all this Walmart experience, and I've got supplement experience, and I've got these huge, wild ideas.
And I want this fucking
and
job.
I want it.
Yeah.
So long story short, we had lunch a couple times, interviews and formalities, and I was gracious enough to be offered the job. You know? So that's what led me there.
Yeah.
The experience probably helped, but being the guy who had been in both places, I mean, that's really what did it for you.
I think the biggest part for me was
Hearing that guy say, well, Walmart's trying to poach my manager.
yeah, huge opportunity, opportunist here. Total shot in the dark, right? I had to be in that situation at that point in time to hear that, to reach out. And I was, in my earlier youth, I wouldn't have dared to reach out to somebody and been like, hey, heard you have a job open. Let's talk,
Yeah.
Pretty bold. So
Sometimes the pregnancy is what it takes to motivate you.
so lesson learned.
It was a good move, though.
Yeah. Lesson learned. So I totally lost my train of
Where
thought
are we in the
there.
timeline, though? So, okay.
Oh, gosh.
You're talking to Matt, and this is 2021?
2021.
This is in COVID. Well,
A tail
kinda at the
end. We
end.
were still all remote.
So, wait, were you working for the fitness store? Or you working for Walmart at this time?
This is Sam's Club. So I was.
So you were at Sam's Club.
Correct.
You went to the store that you used to work at.
Energy drink.
Okay.
Yeah. So relationships, people I talked to, people I used to work with. And
You're
that's,
like, I don't want to do this Sam's Club thing because I know I can make a big difference over here in sports nutrition. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay, 2021, you're in.
and I think that's part of why maybe I was attractive to that, is because it had been stale as you guys are in this business.
Yeah,
I mean,
it had
for
been stale for a minute.
10 years, 15 years, I mean, everybody buying supplements had aged out and nobody was doing anything to make it current or bring
hip
bring newness
for all the
hip.
kids.
Yeah. And Matt had done a good job. I mean, I think they had started penetrating with Optimum Nutrition, which obviously a huge conglomerate
Yeah.
of companies.
And a lot of people like that product.
Yep.
I think it really kind of shifted when they brought in like Cellucor and ProSups and
Yeah.
But they were also in the early days. But yeah, when ProSubs came in, like, and especially in the recent years with seeing Alani Nu get on the shelf, seeing Ryse get on the shelf, like seeing all these other people that like, hey, we know those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting into Walmart, it seems like suddenly the sports nutrition category there is becoming way more relevant and way more like up to the times, which is a very good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to toot my horn too much, but there was so much potential with leveraging social constructs, social media, social influencers and the brands and like what we see with these labels. I mean, it used to be black and white, it used to be black and red, and that was all it was. Body Fortress orange, right? And so we had a job to like retrain the customer. Hey, you can buy these supplements at an everyday value and you can find it at Walmart. You're shopping at Walmart. Why would we make you go do a second trip to buy something that you're already going to be purchasing?
Especially in the post-pandemic era, it's a prime time to capitalize on that because they're not going to stop shopping for toilet paper.
No. And you think everybody was like, okay, how do we get healthy coming out of the pandemic? How do we get active? Like we've been locked up for 2 years. Give me something new.
Well, up to that point, like most of the products that were in there just weren't that, I don't want to say bad. They're probably good for business, but like from like an efficacy level, weren't really.
They're on a different tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't meet the needs of the more educated consumer. And what you find like on TikTok and Instagram these days is the younger crowd is a little bit more educated when it comes to supplements. You know, you have a lot more content out there where people are talking about them, like what's an efficacious dose of this ingredient? What's an efficacious dose of? And if you go to Walmart, back in the day, if you went and looked at that, they're all proprietary blends, and there's just nothing.
Caffeine.
Nothing to get excited about on like on that standpoint. Then there's the labeling standpoint where a lot of it's very kind of sterile branding, where it looks safe, but you know, supplements, especially sports nutrition in the younger crowd, they want something that has a little interest to it.
Yeah. Something they want to be able to relate to.
They want to relate to the
Feel
lifestyle
fun.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whether that's like something fun like Glaxon or Ryse or something like that, or something hardcore looking like ProSups, or something super sporty like Cellucor. I mean, I don't know if Ghost is in there now, but like, you know, they're very lifestyle, you know, street culture
They're
kind
in
of thing.
Target.
They are, yeah.
They made a choice there.
Yeah.
So
It's probably a conversation about that.
you get brought in.
Yep.
So Matt puts in the word for you, and like, do you get an email that you're hired? Do they bring you in for like a special meeting or something, or how does do you have to like go grovel at someone's feet in order to get the blessing to become the guy?
No, we had lunch to just talk about like, okay, what are my capabilities? Like you would do for a job shadow almost.
Sure.
And then there was 3 formal interviews, you know, one with him, one with a panel team, and then me and the VP at the time. His name was Creighton Kuiper, super smart guy, very great. He had visionary, I guess is what you could call him. And so he had this idea very similar to mine about we want to bring this into the 21st century. Right.
So, all right. So you finally get the job and you report for work. What was your vision going into this? You know, it's 2021. What were your goals and what did you kind of set out to do as part of this job to modernize your supplement section and bring it into the 21st century?
Greetings to all our entrepreneurial listeners out there. This segment of Supworks is brought to you by NutraBound Labs, leaders in the field of nutraceutical manufacturing. Are you in the health and wellness industry looking to launch or expand your line of nutritional supplements? NutraBound Labs is a GMP certified and FDA registered contract manufacturer that aims to be your go-to partner for top-notch manufacturing services. They specialize in creating high-quality, custom formulated products with excellent flavors that meet your unique needs. Imagine having access to a state-of-the-art facility where your vision for premium vitamins, supplements, and protein powders becomes a reality. NutraBound Labs offers that and more with their advanced manufacturing techniques, rigorous quality control, and a commitment to using only the best ingredients and flavoring systems. As a nutraceutical label designer myself and consultant, working with NutraBound Labs is always a pleasure. NutraBound Labs isn't just a manufacturer, they're your partner in success from R&D to production, and even labeling and packaging, which us here at NutriMedia basically bolt on with them for. Their comprehensive services are designed to streamline your product launch and drive your business forward. Don't wait to bring your nutraceutical vision to life. Visit NutriBoundLabs.com to learn more about their exceptional service and start a journey with a trusted industry leader. Or if you're interested, just contact me, TK. You can follow me on at NutriMedia. Direct message me directly, and I can share Marcus's contact with you. NutriBound Labs, where your product's potential becomes a reality.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sure at the time you were chomping at the bit with
you
all
must have
kinds
been.
of ideas.
You're pretty young. You must
Yeah.
be pretty, wet behind the ears. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of responsibility to be in the position you're in. Talking, it's probably a lot different with other industries. I don't know, but I can imagine just starting to deal with supplement brands in general because I have to do it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of vibrato and ego and machismo, and there's just a whole bunch of energy and fast-pacedness of the supplement world that isn't super corporate. That's kind of, gunslinger,
I think part of it was gunslinger. Like I was ready to slash everything, right? Because my experience was with a very small P&L. And so I wasn't used to maybe the corporate I don't know, platform of what I needed to do to make my budget and hit my budget and all that stuff. So we started looking at like the low hanging fruit, right? The stuff that didn't sell, maybe the stale segments, stuff that the customers weren't purchasing or we didn't see on TikTok or Instagram or any of the social ads, right? And so that was where I wanted to go for first. Just get the low hanging fruit, the stuff that didn't perform, which providing a little context, when I came on the desk, it was very different than what we just saw in the store, right? Yeah. You had protein RTDs and you had protein RTEs, ready to eat. And then you had some powder and you had pre-workouts. Like that was it. And so your weight loss segment was historically like Atkins, energy shots, and hydroxycut, like they had 16 feet of weight loss pills. I'm like, how do you differentiate that? Like it looked like a gas station. And one of our directors said that and it kind of resonated with us. Yeah. And so we wanted to simplify. Well, the next mod or mod cycle that we dropped swapped the energy shots. So like 5-hour energy, the weight loss pills, brought it to my set. And then they got the performance bars, like your Quest bars, and then they got the ready-to-drink proteins as well. So it made really like a food aisle and then a supplement aisle, which is part of the direction we really wanted to facilitate.
So you get a whole lot more space that you now have to fill with more powders.
Correct. Or remove some from, because with the shift, like I think there was a growth in our P&L, like we had a different target to hit because of the way, I guess maybe the products are weighted, like we would have moved more or less than the bars, right? So
this is all data-driven analytics for the most
correct. Part. Yeah, totally data-driven. Some of it was definitely feeling brain, right? You got thinking is just data, and then your feeling brain is, well, gut check. Like, okay, you've got all these weight loss SKUs that have been on shelf for 20 years, and they're not doing, $500,000 in sales, and they're in every store. Like, some of those metrics don't make sense. So that's what we went after first, and then from there, try to, I guess, see what need states did we need in Walmart to have. So maybe we had protein powders, maybe we had, pre-workout, but we didn't have non-stim. We didn't have standalone carnitine, or we didn't have standalone creatine powder with multiple options or sizes. Like they're just little things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like an expansion, a linear expansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, you kind of have to look at your shelf space like prime real estate.
Prime.
If you have something that has been in there for 20 years, it's in every store and it's not moving. I mean, effectively, it's not paying its own rent, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you guys have like analytic metrics on like per square inch? Like
we actually looked at the inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So weight loss historically would have been really easy to gain their space because they're small bottles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So again, 20 years on shelf, that's hyperbole, but it wasn't earning their space.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the strategy going in? Is it all data driven? Is it intuition? Are you looking for specific things when it comes to brands? Like what is it that is capturing your eye? Is it just who reaches out to you? Like how does the process work? Like start to finish from, like acquisition all the way to like being on to the shelf?
Yeah. So the first year, I'll kind of split it up into two parts. Second year, I've got my legs under me and I kind of knew what the process was. First year was really feeling out, okay, who are my big players, right? Who drives the most dollars to sales? What are the customers actually looking for, right? And so we tried to bucket it, like you mentioned earlier, with not really having many selections. We had a little bit of a better, we didn't really have best, right? And you think of retails and that can be broken down even further into efficacy or doses or how
good,
clean.
better, best as far as like the pricing strategy goes.
Sure.
You have like a $30, a $39, and then like a $45.
And on each one of these tiers, you kind of get what you pay for.
And you would assume that your retail is matching the quality.
Right.
With the packaging, the formula.
Correct. What you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
So that's how we bucketed it. We looked at the consumer from an everyday user to a fitness enthusiast, or maybe you're dipping your toes in the water to I'm an influencer. Like I take protein daily. I'm posting about it. I want to feel connected to a brand. So that's what we looked at the first year. And there were some pretty big discussions. A lot of it was about underperformers. The second part was new performers that have never done business at Walmart. And how do we get you in and devote time to you and to the 75 others that are trying to vie for my time, right? That also have product and they've got P&Ls and they've got families to feed and they're trying to get more products in and stuff like that. So first year was really getting my legs under. Fast forward to the second, we saw the performance in July. That was the whole fruition of the year. I think the first year we dropped in November, so we had about 6 months to look at the data and really extract, okay, here's some more low-hanging fruit. How much do we want to cut? How many markdowns do we want to have? What linear space, linear inches, do you want to put on shelf of new or existing or expand, a brand that has
new flavor or whatever.
Sure. So on that note, protein powder takes up a lot of space. If I delete three weight loss pills, I still can't get a protein in. I might get a pre-workout. I might get a pre-workout and a half.
Maybe even 2 pre-workouts.
Maybe even 2. So those are the decisions we had to make. I mean, what was there margin involved? Was there volume involved? Did the customer resonate with this? Maybe you're not going to make as much money on it, but this is what we need to have for them because that's where they expect to find it. And that's kind of the culture that I wanted to embody and bring to shelf was you as a consumer should trust me to bring the best items to you. And I should do that every time I make a decision, right?
Right. So you want variety, margin that makes profitability to you, and variety and selection for the customer.
Yeah.
And all at the same time sort of elevating the overall quality of the category.
And just the impression of it.
Yeah.
Because
how often do the shelves there get reset?
Once a year.
Once a year?
Once.
How does the reset process work?
And is that part of category review? I wanted to touch on this.
Oh, yeah.
Category review actually kind of takes place throughout the whole year. Like we've got category advisors that look at share gains, share loss, profitability. They look at, MULO, multi-outlet, and they say, okay, here's performance going on here, what we're losing during this 6-week window or something like that. So it's going on all year. It's heavier towards the mod reset cycle.
Yeah.
So this past year, typically the reviews would have been sent out around November. Hey, line reviews are coming up. Line reviews are what we call them. Here's a meeting planner. Here's some forms for you to fill out if you want to get a spot. Now that's to say, okay, I'm available at your discretion, right? Because you're Walmart, you want to get in. But here are my SKUs. And sometimes you'd have brands pitch every single item in their portfolio, and you're like, okay, I can't put everything in here, so you're wasting my time. Or here's 2 or 3 items I think is a white space to you that not only could elevate your assortment, and here's the reasons why, but also it could help our business, obviously. So they send out the requests, and then typically they give you about 3 weeks to fill those out, 2 to 3 weeks before reviews happen. And reviews, like you had mentioned earlier, you might get 15 minutes, you might get 30, you might get an hour. So within that 2-week time frame, you've got 200 to 300 people sending you emails trying to get your time.
Yeah.
Are these in-person reviews or like Zoom calls or what?
I tried to do in person because I thought that was a lot more formal. With the emergence of Zoom and everything, people thought it was more convenient because between meetings, like I could just end and then start a new one. I didn't really like that. I'm a big people person.
Well, like just from my point of view, if I'm trying to sell into Walmart and I know you guys are going to move $3 million worth of product in the first year and I'm a new company,
Yeah.
I'm going to get on a plane and come see you.
Absolutely.
I want to come see you.
Yeah.
I want to do this face to face.
And I want to do this face to face too, because I think that builds a relationship. Like if you can see me, and like we talked about earlier in the car on the way here, you can see that, okay, I smile when I talk to you. I don't have dead eyes. Like I'm actually a person. Then that makes it more real. And you can sometimes see through people that are selling you a load of crap.
Or their entire product line all at once.
Or their entire product line all at once.
Yeah. So one take home, and I got another question after this.
Yeah.
It's like, don't come to a buyer or any merchant of any place unless it's like they're wanting to buy an entire line, trying to just give them everything. It's like, hey, have a plan of something that you want to give them, and then maybe you expand it.
And have a plan to bring something unique that they may not have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that meets
Or
a
a better offer than what might currently be.
Yeah, and that's open to interpretation. It could be a new brand. It could be a line extension, a flavor, a newness, like a new ingredient, like a cognitique or something, or Infinergy or something like that. That, okay, you've had caffeine in there and hydrous. How do we put the rest of it in a pre-workout that you've never had that doesn't give you, like the paraxanthin stuff that everybody's talking about, doesn't give you any jitters, And that differentiates stuff that's currently on shelf that's just caffeine dosed.
Interesting. So you do actually look at these formulas and try.
I did.
Yeah.
And I'm not to toot my own horn, but the ingredients that I was putting on shelf, I wouldn't per se put things on shelf that I wouldn't ingest. And because it's a gimmick, I don't believe, whether it would sell or not, that it was a good business decision. Now, there were also like whales that you had to keep on shelf because customers bought it. Moral dilemma.
Yeah.
Right? Because, okay, I'm going to give you a placebo and you're going to make me $10 million a year. Doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
So I had a hard time
But you
battling
do have
that.
a certain like incremental margin that you have to make where you're scaling up every year. You're doing better year over year.
It's always up.
Right, yeah.
It's always, and that's
Yeah.
the challenge,
And
right?
that's the sports nutrition industry.
right.
Yeah. And the CAGR is insane. I mean, if you look at like the last 5 years to the next 5 years, sports nutrition is going up.
Yeah.
But profitability, especially with all the commodities coming down and retail still being up, how are these brands, or like Walmart specifically, thinking about, well, I've sold this for $25 for so long, and Walmart has visibility into commodities.
Right.
So they can see that creatine is not 200 a kilo now, or whatever it was, 20 a kilo. And it's actually 2. So I know you're putting it in this product and you raised costs during the peak windows of key commodity increases, and now you're bringing costs down. I want that cost. But at the same time, we have to lower our retails because we're not going to be greedy, right? And we want the customer
everyday low price.
everyday low price.
Yeah.
So it's a constant battle.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier you send out some forms. Like documentation is everything all the time.
Sure.
So like, what do people need to be prepared for when you're sending out these type of documents? Like, what type of ask? Is it like dimensions and weights and things like that?
Yeah, they're just like item detail attributes. So if you were pitching me this energy can, right? You're going to tell me what flavor it is. You're going to tell me the cost. You're going to tell me, in the notes section, you can tell me capabilities. What's your capacity to scale? What's the dimensions of the top of the can? So I can actually see how much linear inches I have left over after my deletes to consider putting that on shelf.
Right. And you need to also know how it's like warehoused, like palletized.
Palletized, yeah, like tie highs and stuff like that. Fulfillment is always good, whether you can go collect or prepaid, or if you go through a consolidator, if you ship direct, like that's things that people think about because the goal is to maintain in stock, right? I think they've actually lowered the metrics a little bit. But it used to be 98% on time and full, which is insane, right? To maintain all the time. So
you have to have a lot of money in order to do that across multiples of stores.
Sure.
Now,
How many total stores does Walmart have currently?
It varies, 46 to 4,700.
Just in the United States, or
Just
is that
in
the
the
whole
United
world?
States.
4,700 in the United States.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So at the very least, like, say you get one product into Walmart, and they at least want 2 of each of those in every Walmart.
Yeah.
So, just say it's a multivitamin and there's no flavor variations. That there's at least roughly 10,000 products that you have to send to Walmart immediately. I mean, if they choose to pull the trigger. And if you're doing like multiple flavors, obviously that's multiplied across all of that.
but you have to keep stock at 98%.
But to keep stock, so did they keep any in the distribution centers, or did they just blast out that first purchase order like all at once and like everyone's stocked, and then there's an immediately reorder kind of thing, or did they keep any in distribution centers?
It's kind of a mixed bag depending on your business and like depending on the turns, right? So this is
Explain turns.
how fast your product sells and replenishes. So if you're selling this at two units per store per week, my review time for my supply chain could be every day. It could be once a week. It could be twice a week. It doesn't matter. But the problem, or I guess the thing is, you're getting POs to fulfill what you've sold through to replenish, and so that's the challenge for the back end of the supply chain, is to get that there as fast as possible, so that you're not dropping.
And this all happens through like some sort of API system, right?
Yeah,
Some
it's
software.
back end. I mean, it's beyond me, but basically what they use is called EDI, which is electronic data interchange. And it's a feed. I mean, it's like basically writing code. So I actually just went through this with one of my suppliers that was trying to invoice to Walmart, and one digit in their API feed was off going to Walmart. And so Walmart was rejecting their POs to be invoiced against. It was $700,000.
Wow.
So to fix that, I mean, we got
quite
the
a
money
whoopsie.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm sure
you
somebody
think,
went and looked at that real quick.
you would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
So there's a lot of nuances that go into it that the expertise definitely comes into play.
Yeah,
and that's go ahead.
Coming from a layman person, let's say like an entrepreneur, small business owner, small shop, but has an opportunity to get into Walmart.
Yep.
Change their life probably.
Yeah.
And you're probably won't like the foot in the door to change your life. I know there's like a chain of command. It's not just one person, it's a whole team.
Sure.
But like, you're saying you're one of the first points of contact in this review process to potentially change someone's the trajectory of their business.
Sure. Yeah.
How does that weigh on you?
It's heavy, especially if it's a business that has a ton of potential. It's hard to say like how you think about that in the moment versus
because it's just your
retroactive.
job.
It's just your job, right? So while I wanted to help everybody, you still have a limited amount of space.
Has there ever been a brand that you've come across before and you're like, okay, I like you. I want to bring you in. Here's your PO. They get the PO and all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
No.
Well, I mean, I've heard of like the cottage industry of like there's people in Bentonville like, oh, you got a PO for Walmart. We'll give you the financing. We'll get you in. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to someone who's like running a small business.
Sure.
Where all of a sudden they're like, I've never seen a PO this big before. And they're just like, ugh.
I think it's different for Walmart versus some of these other retailers because POs are pretty common outside of that industry.
Yeah.
But more than likely what you would get from Walmart as a merchant is a soft commit.
Sure.
Or maybe even hard commit. Like, hey, we're going to target 4,000 stores. We're going to target 1,200 stores. You might get 100 or 200 variants either way based on how they draw, right? And so that kind of answers your question. I mean, it's not necessarily a PO drop and I ship you and I don't know what to do next. There's steps leading up to that. Like once you're selected, going back to your discussion about line reviews, like once you're picked, Retail Inc. is the housing for all the data and like the applications and stuff. And that's where you go for everything. You fill out your tax forms, you fill out your business, your employer numbers and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of guides you through, but it doesn't tell you everything.
Are you guiding the vendors through this? Are you?
When I have time.
Yeah. Or is it like, hey, now you need to staff somebody in order to just basically be completely like a proficient in this software now?
So I tried to my first year. I'll tell you. So Allmax is one of the brands that we launched my first year on there because I thought they were
Allmax.
I like Allmax too.
Yeah, they were super reputable in brick and mortar, like mom and pop shops. And I was like, we could do smaller, incremental. I think we started with glutamine, which glutamine was on the rise because of some of the trends with like the gut stuff and whatnot. But they wanted a lot of time. Like they didn't know how to set up an item. They didn't know how to receive POs. They didn't know how to do the analytics and stuff. And so our job dealing with 75 suppliers is not to do that all day long, right?
Not going to hold their hand through it all.
Well, who does the hand holding then?
Consultants and brokers.
Okay.
Yeah. So our job, in one way to say it or another, we couldn't tell them to go find one, couldn't tell them to go pick a direct one.
But they're there.
They're there. And so you would recommend, hey, they're out there in the market, you're going to pay a fee, build it into your cost, don't give it to us, and they're going to be the expertise. Here's a couple of options, and leave it at that. So I think what a lot of the people get.
Need a babysitter here. They live here in town.
Yeah.
Go get you a fucking babysitter.
Which that's like what you're doing now.
That's what I'm doing now. Yeah. I mean, there's still ever-changing parts of the business, but yeah.
We'll get to that.
Sure.
But
well, and as far as like the babysitter process and all that, like a new brand gets in and all of a sudden they're running into these, the EDI interface and all this stuff. I wanted to talk about like the TLAs, the 3-letter acronyms, or for a better word, the Walmartese.
Yeah.
Of all the language and everything that goes on.
yeah, it's whole vernacular.
It is.
There's a whole language that goes on where that is almost exclusively shared amongst like brokers and buyers and people who know the language. Do you have any good ones to elaborate on or define for us? Like if you had a Walmart glossary, what all would be in it?
Probably your basics. I mean, POD is points of distribution. Probably some people call it store counts on the side. Cost and retail are very specific to cost and retail and not sell price or sales sheet price. Like very different terms, because you could tell me your sell price is $9.99. That's actually what I'm thinking your cost is, right? And so you get into those kind of debacles. EDLP and EDLC, which is very staple. It's what Walmart's kind of built on, is everyday low cost, everyday low price for the customer.
That's like is that like your rollback cost, or just that's your everyday?
That's every day. That's what you're giving the customer the best value at.
Yeah.
So rollback would be different. That would be a rollback to a rollback. And sometimes what you actually had happen in some of the cases was the rollback was so productive that it became your new EDLP.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so that begs the question, okay, this really works. We want to roll it back to this retail. Can you support the rollback to that cost, the new EDLC?
Right.
And sometimes they can't.
Yeah.
And so then you weigh on, okay, do I want to take a margin hit because I'm going to do more volume at that retail? Or tough luck, we'll just go back to the same volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, do like
Tie highs.
We never shipped pallet quantities.
No, I'm just saying, like, as far as like more words.
tie highs, more acronyms. Yeah. So tie highs are just in relation to pallet shipping. I mean, you see it a lot, and you have to key it in, but you're never going to ship a tie high of, a 5x10 of a hydroxy cup bottle.
Basically, what you mean is the dimensions of the pallet that is shipped to you.
Thank you.
That is tie.
How many units fit on that pallet in case quantities? Yeah.
you don't ship like that per store. You ship that to a distribution, and then those get
Correct. They get broken down.
In boxes. Does it matter box count?
It varies. So while we're talking about box count, there's this thing called shelf cap.
Okay.
Turning your terminology. Shelf cap is determined by the diameter of your product on shelf and how deep it goes. So you've actually got different size shelves within a Walmart. You've got 22s, you've got 30s, you've got 48s. Like it just, maybe not 48 deep, but 48 wide. And they all hold different amount of products. And so your shelf cap is dictated by your dimensions. And within the dimensions, I totally lost my train of thought.
Do you have like software that's breaking down like what you're like?
Are there CAD drawings that like have a visualization?
Yeah.
Yes.
Top down.
Yes.
You've got this many fat burners next to this many proteins, and you can stack 8 of these deep. You can stack them 3 deep on the protein and all this other stuff. And I guess that's where your dollars per square inch, comes into play there. Like as far as that much real estate, how fast they move these things over time, and the dollars per square inch that they're generating.
It sounds like you've done this before.
No, I'm very good at visualizing.
It's very good because that's exactly what happens. So we throw it up on a screen. It's called ProSpace.
Okay.
And I'm sure other people use it, but essentially we draw your mod in boxes and then also renders, and we can have like images loaded to your bitmaps and all that. And we look at it on a units per store per basis, and you can load it with whatever metric you want. Dollars per store basis, how many dollars or units you're turning per week per item.
What's so DSP?
It's actually $SW. So you would think DSP, but different acronym.
So when you're emailing somebody, that's what you would do, a $W.
Yeah, $S/W, or it's maybe no without slashes, or USW, stuff like that.
So like as a newcomer and I saw that, I'd be like, I have no idea what this man's talking about.
Exactly.
That's why
Have you ever sent emails to that and they're just like, what the fuck are you saying in the return email?
That's why
they
you have a
actually
broker.
don't respond
they
with,
just
I don't
freeze
know
up.
anything, because I think that's one of the frustrating parts about dealing with some of the brands, or maybe even new brands, is that I would say something and they wouldn't raise their hand. Like it's okay to raise your hand if it's a valid question. And I had a really good boss when I started building all these stores that said, you don't go ask for help unless you've explored every avenue, and then you come ask me for a question, which allows you to think critically.
Is it kind of the expectation that they know this though? Or is it the expectation that they don't? Or is this kind of Walmart's
I would say
play?
that these questions are a barometer. Okay. I'm going to see how you handle this question. There's probably one or two ways they're going to answer. Either they're going to know or they're not going to know.
Well, after you're
and that's
already,
going to determine how easy this working relationship is going to be.
Yeah, but after you're already approved, I'm sure you're already vetting all this stuff before approval. Like you're kind of like, hey, do you guys know how to play ball?
Yeah. And that's dependent on the size of your business. I mean, you can definitely kind of get a feel for people over email, a phone call, sure. But there are some that are very eager, like, oh, we can do business with Walmart. Okay, how much can you support? Well, we can ship 5,000 units a week. Okay, well, we've got you slated at 2 for 1,200 stores. Okay, that doesn't leave you with much left over, and you're shipping other channels. So, like, there's vetting questions that go into it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you go back and say like, hey, we have a concern about that, and do you give them the ability to like respond?
Sure, absolutely. Let me back up. When you're looking at the low-hanging fruit and you make your deletion decisions, you would then email your suppliers, right, and say, you're not cutting it. You're on the cusp for deletion, like we're going to remove your item either from a handful of stores or all stores, right? Because we can see by store data. You might do really well.
Did you have to do that in your job?
All the time. All the time.
How did you let them down? Or were you just like pretty cut and dry?
It was hard the first year because, to your point, like these are people's livelihoods, like it's their job. Walmart is not their only customer. It's not their only business, but it might be that person's only business, right? As a business development manager or as a key account manager, like that's what they're assigned to do.
Right.
So the first year I was really guarded on how I talked to them. And I was like, I'm doing everything I can. Like, I really want to help you. And then the second year was, I kind of understood the nature of the business. Like, this is my reasoning, and accept it or not. Like, okay, you don't accept it. And then typically they would ask for a phone call or like, hey, further explanation, which then like, I'll get on a phone with you and I'll talk it out and I'll be cordial and like, let you know, I'm just doing my job. This is not personal. You know, we just have to make decisions that are going to further the business more than just another year.
Right. Did that ever go not so favorably with them?
Yes.
And they're like, oh, I can't believe you're doing this. And then like,
But not over the phone.
in person?
No, worse. It was an email.
Over email? They just send a scathing email?
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever like go off the handle back and be like, look, here's your data. Your shit doesn't move, buddy. You're taking up this much space and none of your product is moving at all.
Yeah.
It's been 6 months. Not a single product has been bought.
Yeah. Sometimes. I wish I could do that.
I think that would be like kind of nice to let them know.
Well, he's got to be professional. It's Walmart. It's super corporate.
It is
I kind of want to
professional.
go
You
back.
have that much data. You're fucking professional.
Yeah, I want to go back to pitch.
Sure.
Like what is the pitch cycle like? Okay, so there's a review, right? You know, obviously reviewing at different times, but your set in particular has like a reset date.
Yep.
So you have all
Which
these.
is August.
I call it a carousel.
Wait,
you
wait.
know, because it comes around every year.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when is it? Just so they know.
It's like middle of August.
Okay.
Now.
So-
It's the middle of August now. Sometimes it can change.
but you're leading up to this several months prior with all these like execution items.
About
Who
a
gets-
year, yeah.
Yeah, who gets deleted, who's getting added, all that stuff. So you want to get into Walmart. It's going to take you about a year to finally turn all the way back. Let's say the review's in August. Let's say you start talking to somebody in June. You're not going to expect that product to hit the shelf until next August.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a couple people that
Are there exceptions?
very few exceptions. Like if
Have you ever had one?
oh
We're like,
gosh,
shit, we got to get this in now.
I don't think it's been to the point of
What
like
about Prime? Was Prime one of those?
no, I didn't do Prime.
Okay.
I didn't
That's
do Prime.
beverage.
Yeah.
That's a whole different topic. There was a couple, maybe SKUs, not even just different brands. There were a couple SKUs that, okay, we were really on the cusp of this decision and maybe they weren't good partners and maybe like they had a cost increase on the table and they wouldn't remove it. And it's like, well, maybe I take a chance on this brand that is already set up and they've got execution in the rest of market. Let's make a swap. And to your point on ProSpace, we're drawing this. I have a limited window before that image with all the UPCs and all the attributions is checked in and it's done. You can't touch it. Okay.
Locked
So
in.
in
Locked in
theory-
for a year.
Locked in.
If you pick like a loser brand, like do they just get to hang out for a year?
No.
So you'll drop them quickly.
So there's actually different metrics that my second year they started rolling out. One was a cross-reference or an item swap. Cross-reference is typically within the same brand, same SKU family. Item swap was something that you would submit to the mod team. It typically took like 3 weeks to execute, and you had to have items communicated to the brand that you were going to get in to be staged, right? So you can ship and flow immediately and change it over. And then there was a second tool called Quick Mod, which is essentially like a new mod cycle, which drops like a page that you see your mod on at the store level. Store gets an activity. Hey, I need to go do this, right? And so you would plan that out, and then you could actually swap an item in like you're dropping a new mod, but just within that same spot.
But it's like an existing item.
That can happen anywhere at any
different
time of
item.
the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's a new item, then that needs to be pipe filled. Somebody has to work very quickly to get all those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you also probably have a pretty good idea of if you are in need of doing a swap like that, who is like the next candidate in line, whether it's an already existing brand that's in the store, or if you've got someone who is like the next tier that you were going to pick that you maybe didn't pick. Like if this guy doesn't perform, be like, I'm going to swap this guy out and this guy in real quick. And they're ready. It's for runner up. The vice president takes the presidency.
Yeah.
I don't think we had any like runner ups per se. If we ever ran into a situation like that,
Probably pick a vendor that's a pretty solid vendor already.
if they were adjacent, sure.
Yeah.
If they were next to it, otherwise you would take an existing double face it, like put two next to each other, right?
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Simple solution.
Yeah.
Because typically you would see a marginal lift with two placements. You got more shelf real estate, right? To that point, you would communicate that back and say, hey, this one didn't perform. We're going to double face this, give you more ships, right? Because you're filling now the shelf caps in all those stores. Where's the margin?
Yeah.
Right? So everything is a negotiation.
I see.
Yeah.
Based off of margin.
Always.
Have you ever had anyone increase their price and be more successful with a higher price?
No.
Not at Walmart.
No.
Okay, back to pitch.
Yeah.
All right. So, like, somebody somehow gets your contact. Is this how this happens? They just cold email you? How does it work? Or are you reaching out to them? Is it somebody who's being referred to you, or is it strictly by brokers coming to you?
It was a kind of a mixed bag, yeah. So brokers, right, wrong, or indifferent, would get my contact info because everybody's sharing in the community. Hey, this is the buyer for this. I've gone to your kid's soccer game, met you once. I want a piece of the pie. Cold emails. Some people would find me on LinkedIn, and they would send me emails, and then I would ask, hey, let's put this with a paper trail, and we'll go email on Walmart's terms.
Yeah.
Rarely I got a phone call because that was pretty private information. And then
creepy.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. LinkedIn was a little bit edgy.
It's not as creepy.
Not as creepy.
I would expect that, but someone to call me out of the blue that I don't know.
That does suck, but you got to kind of respect the hustle too.
Yeah. I think I had that once or twice my first year.
You ever have shaker bottle manufacturers from China reach out to you?
Only after I left Walmart. Which is super weird. I'm like, where are we all? Super weird. No, but it's pretty much that. Sometimes we would do what's it called? It's a Walmart program. It's for new vendors. They would come in, they would sign up.
Yeah, they have the open day or whatever it's called.
Like set up booths?
Open call. Yeah, I did that one year.
So
Casting call kind of thing.
Yeah,
huh?
I went to open call one year.
Yeah. Hey, different concept, but yeah, it's a retail side.
Yeah, they put you in a little room and you get like 10 minutes.
It's like Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That
like
is
in a
kinda
little
neat.
tiny, very, very intimidating room with two very quiet people wearing blue shirts.
That's a very interesting thing how a tiny room could be so intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because a lot of the people are people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Arkansas people,
All the people are people, right? They're dealing with the same stuff you're dealing with. They might have a family member that died that week and they've got a Walmart meeting. Like they're going to take the Walmart meeting over going to a visitation sometimes or a funeral sometimes. Like they value it that much. And so going into those pitch meetings, like you try to be as, I don't want to say robotic, but humane, right? You're still a person. You've got to empathize. They're pitching you a brand. Like give them time. Like
They
be a human.
break out in tears as they're pitching.
I've never had
to
that
you.
happen.
Oh my God, I'm sure it's happened though.
I'm sure it has.
Well, I'm thinking that you're probably going into this as like it's another day of work, but the person across the table is going into it like this is going to change my life.
It's going to change your life. It's going to, make your week better. I mean,
They've
maybe
been planning this for months. They've been rehearsing what they're going to say.
or maybe you have to go home to a crappy home situation.
Yeah.
And this is the best thing that could happen that day. Like you never know what people are dealing with.
Yeah. Okay. So you get a mixed bag of
Yep.
of like inquiries. All right. What catches your eye? Is it something that you were already had on your radar because you were aware of that brand just because of either social media or for word of mouth or for whatever reason?
Yeah.
That's what catches your eye, or is there any stuff that just comes in where that's kind of interesting?
Yeah, typically what I would do, because I'm a feeler and I like to try stuff, and I want it, like I said, if I don't want to put it in my body or ingest it, I'm not going to look at it seriously. Like there was definitely stuff that I, put on the shelf that I wouldn't take, but customers take.
Can you give us an example? I'd love to know.
Nugenics.
Okay. They have commercials on TV. I get it.
They do a ton of money.
Yeah.
And does it work? I don't know. Somebody
products-
test it.
Some are good, some kind of suck.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of intuition.
But I'd love to bash on
It's a little bit of you doing your own sort of market.
Good.
You're doing your own market study because you're just generally interested in the industry. Well,
Yeah.
That's what I noticed about you when I saw you kind of following people on different
Yeah.
places. I noticed that you were following a lot of the same brands that I was doing business with. And I was like, well, this is interesting that this guy's paying attention to this.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that makes you a good merchant. If you're buying car batteries, it's really hard to like be immersed in that business, but you still should take an interest in like how many cold cranking amps is the most common vehicle using in the United States? Like what are people searching for? And then trying to learn as much as you can about that business to make you a better merchant. One, it's going to expose you to a ton of stuff. Two, you're going to build relationships because like you said, people are going to say, hey, he's paying attention to me. You know, sit up straight, shape up. But then I also could connect if I followed a brand and followed a account manager from that brand. Like you post a picture of your kid, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like you're being a dad, like whatever it is, and just being a human. So some of it was intuition, some of it was word of mouth. Like I know Ryan Bucky at Fit Butters runs Fitness Informant. He had connections to a ton of brands that wanted to get into Walmart too.
Sure.
And so he made a good relationship with a local broker that he would just, it was a carousel.
Yeah.
I'm giving you brands. Maybe they fit, maybe they don't. And so there were a couple that stuck.
Just throwing balls up to see if you want to whack them or not.
Sure. And he would feel them out and have the calls and then bring them to me. You bring them to me and I'm like, yes, thank you for bringing me this brand.
So if it's coming way of broker, does that mean it's somewhat vetted and then you're a little bit more, you're more warmed up to the idea of having the conversation just because you know it's in the hands of somebody who's going to help the process?
Not all the time. Some of the brokers, I mean, that's their job, right? Is to, hey, I've got this client. Maybe they have signed me. Maybe they haven't paid me for anything, but my job is to sell for you.
Yeah.
And talk the lingo, walk the walk, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So take it with a grain of salt, but ask for samples, get it in your hand, try it, and then do your own research. Look at their socials. Like, look how many views they're getting on TikTok, Instagram, what their social presence looks like, what people are saying about them, you know?
So are you looking for, when you're going and doing this research on social media, for example, are you looking for pure metrics? Are you looking for diversity? Is there certain things that you're looking for? Are you looking for a certain image or, like some brands may like sell things that have more of a softer approach. Some may have like a harder, does it matter?
I would say it's a balance.
Yeah.
It's, for me, it was more of a gut balance, but it had to be rooted in the customer first because that's what Walmart was built on. So is the customer shopping and viewing and liking these posts also shopping at Walmart, and would they buy the product, right? Or could they generate enough hype to get interest to capture that first purchase to then generate repeat purchases?
Yeah. Is a part of the pitch process like people trying to pitch to you how much more foot traffic they're going to push into the door of new customers? Or is it more of something like, hey, we know that we're a good fit for your existing customers?
Some of it was actually, my first year, it was more of me convincing them why we needed them and why they needed us.
Yeah.
So the example of Ryse, like when we launched them first year, I think Nick might have been on the fence about, well, do I want to go to Walmart? Do I not? And for me, leading into a retail for some of their pre-workouts that was $45, $49, it was too high a price point for that time, right? And so it didn't make sense. And so we were able to like iterate, co-create, get some excitement on brand recognition and brand awareness, brand equity, bring it to stores with maybe a product that the existing users of like a Bucked Up or like a C4 could see and be like, well, I want to try that Kool-Aid. I haven't seen Kool-Aid at Walmart before. Let me try it, right? So it could have been a number of brand that with a license that could get it in there. I mean, it was just new and Walmart had never done licenses.
So so it was like licensing, like, is that, a shiny object?
I would say it was and still is. I don't know how long that train's going to last.
But it's a way to pique your interest at first.
Absolutely.
Without the licensed collabs, has there been any brand that came to you and they're like, we are going to drive so much traffic into your stores to pick up our products via social media and have it actually really, really work?
Oh, that's a good one.
I would probably say Alani Nu.
I was just about to say Alani. So specifically with their proteins.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was also a female buyer, which is a little bit different. Like it differentiates.
And they're very influencer driven. If there was any brand I would have said, that would be the one.
I was really disappointed. And when we saw the initial metrics, let me back up. The mod cycle, when you reset, the unfair part of having to go, prepare for the next year or the deletion is like, okay, I've set my mod, and then 10 to 12 weeks later, I'm making deletion decisions. So you have essentially 10 to 12 weeks, give or take, to make an impact, make a splash.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. From August to call it New Year, New You, New Year reset, whatever you want to do with all the New Year's resolutions, right?
Sure.
I'm going to work out. I'm going to do this. Alani's success story was different because when we launched them, they didn't do well.
Probably not right out the gate.
They didn't. And I think the difference was they partnered with us on a pallet train program. So we put stuff outside of the aisle, functional, and customers could walk by and see, oh, wow, Alani News at Walmart. They got pre-workout, they got protein.
So is that a part of like the initial pitch where they're like, hey, I want to do this promotional thing with you. I want to do an end cap. I want to do a pallet. I want to add an additional marketing spin to this thing. Is that something that's attractive, or do you even give a shit at first?
And maybe for existing vendors, like if you don't have any innovation to pitch the next year, okay, this is what we can do in experiential marketing and some kind of activation like that. So for the new guys, maybe they don't think that, Sidekick PDQs exist or like a pallet drop is an option.
Explain PDQ. That's another one.
It's called Pretty Darn Quick.
Okay.
PDQ
They see it, they buy it pretty darn quick.
That's
it's
the
like
goal.
It's an end cap pop-up, like those cardboard things that you see on the...
Okay.
Corrugate.
Yeah, it's a corrugate. That's vendor supplied. So the brand has to supply the corrugate.
So within
That's a cost.
That's it's an input cost. It's a lead time cost. It's like you're using a consolidator. So now you're chipping away at the supplier's margin.
The inventory of the PDQ, is that as like a separate sort of order? Because you have to fill so much in the PDQ, right?
It is.
So
It's a separate order.
that isn't like that's in addition to the shelf space.
Correct.
Is it sold by unit there, or is it sold? Is the PDQ? Let's say if it has 36 units on that PDQ, is it sold as a 36 unit set?
It is.
So like
it's one piece.
One piece
Yeah.
includes 36.
Yeah.
So you need to include that it's going to have 36 in that one.
Yeah.
But from Walmart's standpoint, they're buying one.
They're buying one. So you set it up that way, right? Like this is one item, kind of like your pallet configurations. I've got a pallet, I've got cases, I've got inner packs, and I've got singles, right? That's kind of the hierarchy. And so your PDQ is treated like a master case. And within that, you've got singles. So you would set up a separate item, and within their like feature planning tool, you would go put that in as one piece to sell, to send to 1,200 stores or whatever the count is.
Right. And that includes the corrugate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously, this takes up more real estate.
Of course.
But
they're allocated real estate.
Okay. But it's also like it's on its own certain time cycle, right?
And you're bidding with other people too.
You bid for it.
Yeah. So
So not only like you're bidding for this, and then there's also like the upfront cost of the corrugate or whatever kind of display you're going to do.
So bidding, let me back up, is not necessarily from a monetary standpoint. Merchants are evaluating, are you going to sell through? Are you going to give me incremental lift? Can you get me better margin? So the ask, I mean, it's all a money play.
Yeah.
Right. So you're already building all this cost into your corrugate. You have to ship it from a consolidator. You have to ship extra. Now you want more margin on top of it? I guess I better play ball.
Yeah. But from like a new brand standpoint, that's a way to get at the end of the shelf, like Alani, to get new exposure.
Yeah. So offering that up, I wouldn't say initially, like in your first meeting, but maybe a couple months into the mod, if you've gained traction or like, hey, this is what we can do, we're not really seeing the lift that we want to see on shelf. Can we get out of the aisle and do it this way?
I see. Because you're going to reserve that for somebody who's already moving.
Yeah,
well.
and you've got out. What was different about our stuff is
How long do those kind of promos usually last? Where someone's like getting out of the shelf in
a month.
With just 1 month?
Their
30
month
days.
cycles, 30 days, and what you do is you bid them out. 6 months from the feature date is what you would call it, the feature, and then plug it all in quarters. So I would plan, February, March, April at one time with different locations within the store.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So even though the category is of this shelf here, you do have access to other locations that are going to kind of be
Relative.
But are you going to buy Hydroxycut while you're getting a fucking CD player?
Well, sometimes you do see stuff like in another place of a store.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered, is that a
over by the sporting goods?
and there is category
Yeah.
crossover sometimes where you got two different buyers of two different categories buying the same item.
And that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah.
Like that's more of your cross function. Like I remember one of the first feature topics we did was a Gatorade. It was like Gatorade water bottles on a half of an end cap, which an end cap is the end of the aisle.
Yes.
and the other half was Gatorade powder, right? And we put it in sporting goods because we thought, hey, you're creating a story. That's what we want to put on there.
Did it do well? Did it perform?
It never executed.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But this like energy drinks is a really good example of this because sometimes they'll start in supplements, but you like from any energy drink brand, they want to be in the beverage area.
For sure.
They want to be
They
selling
be by the checkout.
They want to be selling. Yeah, checkout. Yeah, you're exactly right. That and like cases.
I don't want to have to walk all the way back to the trash bags to
Exactly.
get my energy drink.
So that's a good segue.
We had this experience earlier today.
We did.
Where I bought a Red Bull. I was like, fuck it.
It was the closest
It's
thing.
at the checkout.
Yeah.
I would have much rather bought anything else. But I was like,
Did you buy
a
sugar?
Bull?
Was it sugar free or?
No, I got the full sugar.
Joey's not the health nut everyone.
There's 80 milligrams of caffeine.
Joey's like,
It's
I'm
not fun.
I'm going to abuse my body in every way except with supplementation, and I'm just gonna.
Well, I abuse it that way too.
Why not? No, it's a good thing you brought up like beverage. So my first time on the desk, we were actually going to launch Ghost's energy cans in our aisle, and we had this pusher display. It was like,
But how do you negotiate that? Because I'm sure beverage in general, like that product, belongs to someone else's category that's over there by the fucking trash bags in the back of the store. How do you tell him, I'm going to step on your toes because they and we want to be over here instead?
do you want the answer?
Well, he was-
You don't.
You don't.
You don't. You
That
just do it.
sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So long story short, we actually didn't do it. I think there was like something that fell out, but Ghost actually ended up over in beverage.
Yep.
And what I wanted to create is the whole reason we didn't launch Ryse Energy is because we wanted a functional RTD similar to the ABE cans that are in there now,
Or like the C4 pre-workout can.
or the lit can.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
lit had more of a focus, like an efficacious,
There's just more stuff than caffeine. Yeah.
more stuff.
But
And so
the ghost does have that.
It does.
it does, but it's cognitive. So think about like your beta alanine. Like Ghost doesn't have that. So I was trying to figure out, okay, what is there a key ingredient that makes it something you would drink as a pre-workout? Like you can drink as a Lonnie New or a Ghost as a pre-workout.
Let's
Sure.
also back up. This at the time, probably Ghost Energy was sort of new and wasn't like the behemoth that it has become.
But I think it's a great idea to choose to merchandise in that area because that's where your customers are going to be. For
sure.
They're much more likely to be there than they will be over by the trash bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily trapped. Go to the beverage aisle where all the other drinks are.
I know.
There's pallets.
I'm exaggerating.
And there's
I'm exaggerating.
cases, like just the volume of that is
Yeah.
probably much, much more.
And the story didn't make sense for me. Like I wasn't going to turn volume,
Yeah.
I will
Probably not.
I don't go to that aisle to look for energy drinks.
Exactly.
So,
But I would be pleasantly surprised had they been there.
yes.
Probably.
But
And you would
still-
have tried it.
Everyone's still most likely going to buy them
Yeah.
at the front of the store, like you said, or buy the case from the beverage.
Yeah.
That's just like,
Do they sell energy drinks by the? Well, in some cases they do.
I think they're working on 4-packs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
4-pack.
to your point, I mean, Monster and Red Bull have locked up all of the 4 count and the 12 count and the 16 count on shelf. So like, I'm going to vie for that spot and make sure you're going to make up the dollars and then some.
yeah. So at the time, you're aware, Ghost is on your radar, but
Yep.
it's probably not on the beverage guys.
It wasn't the beverage. And the beverage buyer at the time was really good. He had 2 spots. It was totally unrelated to my business. He had 2 spots. One was like a functional, kind of like an innovative section. It was a 4-foot. It was called functional beverage. You got like super coffee. You've got protein
Kombucha.
coffee, not even refrigerated, right?
Okay.
So he had stuff like that where you would almost incubate different brands or new brands you want to try. Like Lost and Found got on functional, and then they went to DSD. Now they've got some inline stuff.
Yeah. Shout out Lost and Found.
Shout out Lost and Found Energy.
This show is brought to you by Lost and Found Energy Drinks. Actually, every show is because they supply us with energy drinks. We appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Coop.
And then he had the inline stuff, which was like your Red Bulls, your Monster Energy and stuff like that. So he moved on, but he was a really big proponent moving that stuff forward.
Okay. So back to pitch.
Yep. We'll make our way back.
Yeah.
I love this going back around and back around.
Well, I think so many people put so much emphasis on the pitch.
Well,
That's
and
the
I
easy
think
part.
a lot of people are really interested about like pitching to Walmart, getting in Walmart,
Right.
getting in the door, which is
Most of our
the hardest
listeners,
thing.
anyone who like is doing business with Walmart at
Yeah.
this point, who's our listener, probably knows the gig.
Sure.
Let's just be real. And there is something to be said about like once you're in, it's a whole nother monster
Yeah.
where you're going to have to staff up, you have to go get more money, all that stuff. But before you eat, like for the people with the biggest eyes in the world saying, I would love nothing more than go to the largest retailer on the planet
Yep.
and have my product on the. You know how freaking cool it was the first time I went and saw our labels, in Walmart. I mean, to me, not ours, but like NutriBio, when I saw those for the first time, it was so cool for me.
Yeah.
So freaking cool.
And we were actually going to launch more with them, but the customer, going back to that, it didn't make sense. NutriBio wasn't right for the Walmart customer. Like we were definitely gaining share. We were gaining foot traffic in the people like us that work out, that abuse our bodies with supplements, stuff like that. And NutriBio, I think it was safe. We had tried Optimum for a while, and I was a big fan of the caplets or the capsules, whatever, the vegan caps, and how transparent NutriBio was, right? It tells you literally every ingredient that's in there, all the way down to if you're drinking energy drink, like what the flavor.
Yeah.
How many milligrams?
You can scan it and see the lot.
Yeah.
It's testing.
So
I love everything about. I think them choosing the multivitamin was it's a fantastic gateway product
really
to
smart
get them
too.
into
that was the
brand.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you trust the vitamin, why would you not trust others? And so I was really hoping to see them gain some more distribution. With other stuff like their aminos or their amino kick that they came out with. Their protein's really clean.
Their creatine burst we just did.
Creatine's really good.
I think it just may take a little bit of time for the customers to really catch on to what NutriBio is.
Yeah, I still think, I mean, you could add more to it, but I think they could probably be a good fit there. It's going to take a little time and effort.
It's going to build up. They're not an Optimum, right?
Yeah.
An Optimum's got access to this slew of stuff, and it's a mixed bag because Optimum's pricing it's not where it needs to be because they're so huge. NutriBio could fine tune that, but they may not be as known. And so it's a fine balance between what do you want to try, what do you want to incubate, what do you want to partner with long term.
Is that like a relationship thing?
Yeah.
Or is it pure data?
I would say more, depends who you ask.
Yeah.
Let me be safe. I think it's more relationship on me sticking my neck out for your brand and saying, I'm going to take a shot on you. You may not have a big following. I think NutriBio does.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got to activate. You've got to pull levers.
You can't go in an independent store in this country and they
not
don't
find
have
NutriBio.
like a wall. And they're in every single category and every single
and
section.
they're huge in like CrossFit communities.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a big ass brand.
Yeah.
They don't look like it optically, I don't think, but like when it comes to, if you go to every store, you'll see
Yeah.
in independent retail, plenty of NutriBio across several categories.
Yeah.
So that's why it makes sense to me because I think it could segue over that because it is a safe product.
Yeah.
It has lots of transparency. They're not over-engineered. They're priced well. Like I think they have all the parameters, and with especially the new look we're bringing to them, I think it fits.
Yeah.
Is there anything that Walmart does on the behalf of like the brands as far as like their own marketing? So like, for example, NutriBio, is there any way that NutriBio in that sense is getting their back scratched with like targeted ads through the Walmart app or anything like that, where you've got customers who come in and, they're registered, they've got the app and all that stuff, and their purchases are kind of tracked in that kind of sense, and they're able to get like retargeted with, exposure to different things?
Funny you ask. No. No. Well, you have to pay for it. Everything is a pay to play, right? So you have access to the platforms that can do those things for you. The general rule of thumb is if you're in, 1% of your GMV or your gross marginal volume goes to digital ad spend through Walmart's plugin, which is Walmart Connect.
So this is what they refer to as trade spend?
Correct. Well, no. Trade spend is different.
What's trade
What is
spend?
trade spend?
Well, you tell me. From a supplier side, trade spend, if you go to Arnold, does that come out of your trade spend fund?
Well, I would guess so, yeah.
Okay. So this would be, I guess, a marketing bucket if you were to think marketing.
So when somebody's pitching, do they say, I have this much money in marketing bucket? Or do they say, based off of the volume of which you're willing to purchase,
Yeah.
I'm willing to offer a percentage of that to marketing bucket?
I think as merchants, we offer that up like, hey, we expect this.
It's an
And
expectation.
It's an expectation. Yes.
Is this like an unwritten rule of the book or?
I would say unwritten.
Okay.
It's not unspoken. It's definitely unwritten because I think, one, it does help your brand. The caveat to that is personally, I didn't see any return on using that much money spent because there are plenty of exterior ads that you can run.
As a merchant buyer, do you care if they're going and spending more money at Walmart? Is that like a plus to you? Like they're like, hey, yeah, we're going to put $1 million to blah, blah, blah. But like, that's not your
It didn't hit my P&L.
right. So you don't care.
But as being a good partner, like they were probably some merchants that would argue otherwise. Like, hey, you total box, right? You want to be one player, one team, get the money where it needs to go. But I never.
Who's to say that's not just a black hole where you're just just dump money into? It's not really going to go into.
Have you ever seen any kind of efforts like that are like in-store kind of promotion and stuff that really do well?
If you're ConAgra or Kraft or General Mills, sure.
Well, I mean, a big pallet of Cheerios or something in the middle of the aisle.
Well, not just that.
That's promotional. Like we're talking like advertising, marketing, like things like
online sponsored ads.
Yes.
How many banner
a
ads
billboard,
you're seeing? You've got your own brand page. Like General Mills, you got a brand page. I can click on it. I see your hub spokes at the top, which hub spokes are like little images of I want a breakfast cereal, breakfast bar, I want a protein bar, like whatever it is.
Yeah, like in Amazon, they call it extended brand content.
Okay.
Or now it's called A+. They changed what it's called, but like you get a whole brand page and you get access to more digital assets that you can then publish, and then you can branch out from there and offer more SKUs. It's kind of like having your own store within a store.
Right.
So on Walmart.com, for example, that's like one way to, I guess, make things more attractive. But you're saying a lot of those tools are pay to play.
A lot of them are, and like I said earlier, everything is paid and negotiated on. So you could negotiate. You could, not saying you'll get any pull from the merchant, but you could negotiate, hey, I'll give you this ad spend you're looking for in digital, but we want 2,000 more stores.
Yeah.
Because in order to justify the ad spend, I've got to have revenue coming in. And the revenue coming in are from the stores that, you're putting me in, so I can generate that. Do people come in and say like, hey, I want all stores? Or do you kind of say like, hey, we'll start you off on certain regions? Like, how does that work? That's typical. Yeah. So Walmart's got access to what's called clustering, and every category, every department's different. So for like lost and found, if they started in, let's use DFW for example, and we want to put them in aisle, and they're doing really well in DFW, we'd kind of keep them clustered in that market, right? So if you're looking at like a map of the USA, I can see heat map dots where you sell really well, and put you in stores there. It might be 1,300 stores. I'm not going to put you in Maine and Wisconsin or Washington, Wyoming, because you're not going to sell. And then to me, that's a bad partnership, because if you don't sell and I delete you, you come to me and I'm asking you for money. Yeah, explain that, because there is a buyback, right? It's not really a buyback. So when Walmart buys inventory from you, similar to POs, what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. If you get a PO, you ship it, that Walmart now owns that inventory. Okay. So you have completed the transaction. Walmart's behalf is owning that inventory. Within your master service agreement, you agree to pay all markdowns on deleted inventory, right? And so if you're in, for easy terms, 1,000 stores, I delete you in 500, then you're responsible for all the product in those 500 stores that I'm deleting to pay me back a percentage of the markdown. So let's say you mark it half off. And I'm coming to you for half of each item. Okay, so you have an item that you sold for $2 to 1,000 stores, 500 of them came back. Yep. Was that 1,000? Yeah.
Well, if it's marked down half, it's only
it's
500.
Okay.
So they will be asking you for $500 back.
Yep. Yeah. But just times that by multiples of thousands.
And what if it doesn't sell at half off?
If it doesn't sell at half off, Walmart's got markdowns built into their budget.
I mean, does it go even further down in clearance and further down in clearance and further down in clearance?
Yeah, it's algorithm driven. So it's not manually set by us.
But by that point, the idea is just to liquidate, get rid of it.
Correct. Because you bought the inventory down, hopefully to just above cost or breaking even, right? And at that point, you're out of those SKUs. Walmart's going to mark them down. They might not. Right? Stores autonomy. They can do it if they want. And the goal is to sell them. Yeah.
Okay, but you are as a brand, you are now responsible for the cost of that markdown.
Correct.
And you get sent a bill, an invoice for that.
Yeah, and there's two schools of thought. So if you have existing SKUs and you only have one deleted, but you've got ongoing business and you don't want to pay that, it'll come off your invoice.
Oh, okay. Just roll that into something else.
Just roll it in. So, hey, I'm shipping you 2 truckloads for free because I didn't pay you. Walmart's going to want their money back, right? The other piece is you don't have to pay it. And then Walmart can put you on the blacklist and, okay, we'll never do business with you again.
Does that happen?
Happened with Bang.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Bang! But now they're owned by Monster. So I mean, are they back in?
No. This was when Jack had it. So they actually, they had Redline, VPX.
Yeah.
And their SKUs did okay, but they were on the down, like the decline. And then
It's too much caffeine for one bottle.
it's too much.
Way too much.
And I knew guys when I was in the trade for like, they would drink 2 a night.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I know some people who
yeah.
live off that stuff.
The guys polishing the concrete in the stores when they were doing all that stuff, they would drink it and just go to work, man.
All night long.
All night long.
I liked the VPX Redline capsules.
They were
One
good.
time release ones.
Yeah. I think we
would party on those all night.
Microburst.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're out.
Yeah, we would party on those all night.
So that's an interesting question because, it's unfortunate that they got on the blacklist. But now that Bang is owned by Monster,
Yeah.
is that a potential way for them to get back in or no?
No, they'll go to beverage. So we had the Master Blaster.
Oh,
The powder. And the powder didn't sell very well. It was very, I don't know, let's call it average. But it didn't have any backing. I mean, Bang was putting all their money at naked girls and energy drinks.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to support me. And time after time again, I would email, like, hey, you owe me $600,000. When are we going to pay that? And still keep SKUs on the thing. And it just ended up fizzling out, and we just deleted their items and ate it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some things that people bring to the table that are like going to be immediately attractive? Is it purely margin? Like, is there a certain margin you're looking for? Like by rule?
No, I mean, you have a category average, but you break it down into fine line. Sure, there's margin that like, hey, you're way too low. This is where you need to be. And we'd always give a range, right? Because you don't want to give them, hey, so-and-so brand's at 50%, you got to be there. You give them a range of 40 to 43 or like try to get it close without telling them exactly where they need to be. And if they couldn't get there, then okay, maybe we'll look at you, but you're on the back burner. And then you'd bring more people to the front that had the margin, that maybe had some more of the brand equity. Like I remember Nugenix was pitching us and they had a bunch of standalone SKUs. They had like a blood flow and they had like an arginine and they had beetroot or whatever it was. I don't remember. But I was like, is Nugenix the right brand to do standalone in bottles? Is that spicy?
Not a Scotch guy.
That one almost went down the wrong pipe.
Oh man.
That would have been bad.
So, where were we?
We're talking about Nugenix, but
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not the right brand.
And that's what you have to weigh.
NutriBio could be the right brand.
It could be the right brand.
They have the reputation. They have the products. Nugenix, it's them
Yeah.
like flexing out of their niche.
Yeah.
Are
And we
you-
thought Almex was the right brand.
are
So-
you impressed when people bring you like mad sets of data into the general conversation?
I was not. Some people love that.
Yeah.
That, hey, you've done your homework. Like, that's great.
What's like if they have what's the data?
EDI.
EDI.
Nielsen, IRI.
Yeah. So is that like a must?
No, because one of two things. You're already getting that data. So, like, you're already immersed in it. And it's great that
You are.
I'm first in it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking
Does
at my
that kind of
category.
give you like X-ray vision whenever you look at a brand?
To an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, hey, so-and-so does $10 million at Walmart and $2 million in rest of market. Like, we're obviously a huge part of share for them. They have, we have leverage. I mean, we can go big with them. Or
So what if somebody's coming to you and they don't have data points in IRI? Are you like, nope?
No, I'll do research.
Okay.
I would look it up. And if they're not reporting through IRI, then I would have questions. Be like, okay, you're not reporting data. Do you have Amazon data? Okay, you have 40,000 sales for the last 52 weeks. Probably not. But then there are others that you would take a gut check on and say, oh, maybe this has potential. Like, look at Amino Lean. So we launched Amino Lean because I was looking at Amazon's top 10 sellers. Optimum was always up there. Amino Lean was up there. I think they were like number 4 when I looked at them.
Just a bargain product.
It was just a bargain product, but Amino Lean, it was female forward. And this was before the Alex Earl stuff and before anything that they did influencer wise. And I was like, I'll take a chance on them. And so I think we launched the one SKU, which is the pink lemonade. And like, it was really great.
It's still one of your top sellers.
It's one of my top sellers or previous top sellers. But we went further once they came to us with the Alex Earl stuff. And we're like, okay, can we capitalize on, Alex Earl talking about the pre-workout? I don't know, because that's that's after my time, if that ever shook out, but I know she talks about the energy cans.
Yeah.
How do you think those are doing?
I couldn't tell you. I know I've seen more ads driving traffic to Target than I have at Walmart.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about like natural products? Is that a category you look at all? Does that matter?
It is. That's a whole segment of natural, which is inclusive of more of like your plant proteins, your
Right.
your
Is that a different
collagen.
category than your purview?
No, that was still mine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had
But you only
Goodness
have
gracious.
you only have a certain allocation for, who's going to be your natural sort of brand.
that's it.
But
And
that whole segment had to be growing in their shelf real estate over the past 5 years. Had to be.
it was growing.
Yeah.
But then we also saw a shift more towards whey, which we didn't think was
Yeah.
going to happen. So the balance came from collagen trend, either plateauing or like maybe we didn't really need to invest all in vital proteins because there were other brands out there that had better followings.
Yeah. Do you delineate? Do you like spread that out a little bit, or do you just go all in vital?
It's kind of you delineate and you look at,
Because you want to give variety.
you do, but do you want to give variety to one brand across 4 feet, or do you want to capture the same collagen customer that's not shopping vital, that's shopping like Avi I launched?
Right.
Okay, Avi has different flavors. They've still got the natural claims, like they're really female forward.
Yeah.
Because you got the Jen Anistons, right, that started everything.
Yeah.
And you've got these others that
So
have more
they
of a-
differentiated enough to make it attractive.
Yeah, and I actually told them no at first.
Vital.
Avi.
Avi.
Oh.
They asked for a line
Ron.
review. Yeah, Ron's a great guy. They asked for a line review, and I told their broker at the time, I was like, I don't think it's a really good fit. And I think that if it was an event in New York they may have done where they like plastered a bus or a couple of cars or something with Avi, I was like, okay, let me look at them. And I looked at their brand, I looked at their offerings. I was like, we do things with Vital. They're not great partners. How do we get into that space with a different flavor, similar to licenses, but without licenses?
Yeah.
And I know they brought us the Entenmann's, and I think my fat kid at heart said, yeah, Entenmann pound cake, but like, no.
Being a Southern person, I didn't know what that was.
Sure.
Like we got like Little Debbie.
Yeah. So I think it was more of a northern
Yeah.
brand, Entenmann's.
People know what Entenmann's is.
They do,
Tasty
but
Cake was too.
I honestly had never thought, I didn't know who that was until
Yeah.
I saw it, and I was like, "Who is that?" And then I saw it, and I was like,
It
"Oh
looks
yeah,
like
I've
old
seen-
people cookies is
Yeah,
what it looks like.
yeah.
Regardless of old people cookies or not, like Avi is great because they're different from Vital in the sense that their stuff is flavored and is flavored really well.
Yeah.
And their packaging is a lot more vibrant than what you'll find with Vital Proteins. And I feel like they're different, almost different demographics of people.
because
They
they're
are.
like very female centric."
But they're community oriented too. Avi's got a huge community following.
Yeah.
And I don't think Vital did. If not, I didn't see it.
I don't understand Vital's big blow up personally because it's a commodity product basically. It's just collagen, and they just sell a lot of it, and there's really nothing special to it.
In our first podcast, we were talking about the power of influencers and stuff, and we were doing a little bit of comparisons of someone like Jennifer Aniston and Vital Proteins
Yeah.
versus Logan Paul and Prime.
Because Jennifer Aniston does nothing. She did like one commercial for like
that
2
was it.
minutes, and
Yeah, and it's like how much influence is that person going to pull for
Yeah.
your products? And obviously, like I'm sure Jennifer Aniston got a really good amount of money for being part of that.
Yeah.
But it's like, what has she done for them lately?
how
Like,
much of it
staying
is that
after
they
it.
just got into that spot where it blew up, and they were able to produce the inventory to where it would move? Because like I feel like it could have been any collagen brand.
It could have been. That was before my time, but Vital getting in, I mean, they only saw positive numbers. So like it only made sense to expand further. I think because it was collagen, not necessarily Vital, across other categories too, like beauty.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Like it could have been any brand that sells
Sure,
collagen
sure.
with a somewhat neutral demographic type of label.
Yeah.
But I feel like they put collagen on the map.
Yeah.
I think
But
so.
in a sense, maybe Walmart put Vital
That's
Proteins.
what I'm saying.
That put collagen
That's
on
what
the
I'm
map.
saying is like,
Okay.
is if they would have gone to Walmart and they wouldn't have been able to have the placement of the inventory and didn't have the trending of collagen as the term, I don't think Vital Proteins, the brand, drove that craze.
Do you think Avi could have carried the flag just as well?
Yes.
I
think
agree.
any brand that has collagen that has a general who was able to fulfill the inventory could have done that.
I think they had a leg up too because they played in different markets. Like they had RTD collagen, they had collagen matcha, they had collagen
Yeah.
in beauty. Like they were merchandised in beauty or next to it, like
Yeah.
especially Targets in their little like nooks.
Yeah. But other than that, they're not really doing much marketing.
No. And I think that's what I wanted to drive to is differentiation. Like you ride on a set for so long, it's great, it's dollars, but after a while, it does become stale.
Right.
You got to create some kind of competition.
Allmax is a really good example of this. They're kind of like a mainstay brand. They're just a good brand.
And they're in every Canada and Walmart.
Yeah. But like there's nothing really driving it other than the fact that people just know that it's like a legacy brand that has a good product at this point.
But I feel like their main competitor would be Optimum.
Exactly.
They are. Yeah.
But they're on that same tier. I mean, they're pretty much red and black and white.
Yeah. But they're not doing anything special to drive stuff. They're not bringing some massive influencer.
They're doing little things that Optimum is not doing.
They don't have a CEO who's got like the hottest TikTok, account. You know what I mean? Like
No,
they're
they're
not doing
just
those
good
things.
products. And that fucking scoop in the top of the tub.
It's gone.
What?
The last time I saw it was gone. The scoop lock, because I'm pretty sure did Ghost not start doing scoop lock?
It's a different kind of scoop lock.
Oh, is
Okay,
it? Okay.
It's a completely different kind
That's
of
a
thing.
whole conversation because they like IP those. Those are like specialty molds. And
Gotcha.
things
In
that
my
they buy.
opinion,
Yeah, yeah.
as a customer, to see that and to feel that and to see it's in
It's
the product,
amazing.
It's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You have taken one thing that is usually stressful as a consumer, and you've made my life that much better.
Yeah.
And that's little things like that gets my loyalty.
That's a big part of the mod cycle is like experience. Like anybody can sell product. Anybody can pitch to Walmart and get into Walmart. But like, how are you different
yeah.
from another protein? I put the scoop on top.
It's very simple.
It's very simple. Like I have a great experience opening my protein. I'm like, yes.
Thank you. Let's take a bathroom break.
We interrupt this cast to talk about today's supplement sponsor, Dark Labs. We're all about pushing limits and achieving peak performance. And Dark Labs is famously, if not infamously, known for being creators of many heavy-hitting, high-stim pre-workouts. But today, I am not here to talk about high-stim pre-workouts. I'm going to talk about my personal favorite Dark Labs product, the incredible and Nutrimedia label-designed PIMP, aka PIMP, 20 servings, stem-free pre-workout supplement, which comes in two incredibly easy-to-drink flavors, green apple and sour cherry, green apple being the favorite of mine. I know how crucial it is to find a pre-workout that gives you the extra edge without overdoing it on stimulants. That's where Dark Labs steps in. Their PIMP pre-workout is especially formulated to power up your workouts, all while being completely stimulant-free, packed with key ingredients like 10 grams of citrulline malate. That might be over-engineered if you ask me. And 1.5 grams of nitrosogene, along with several other pump-tastic, fully dosed trademarked ingredients. PIMP enhances your endurance and strength, ensuring you get the most out of every session. Plus, it's perfect for those late-night workouts since it won't keep you up all night. Head over to darklabs.pro to grab yours now. And for our Supworks listeners, use special promo code SUPWORKS20 for a 20% discount on your purchase. Dark Labs, where serious athletes find their secret weapon. All right, Josh, that was a good piss break. I want to get into more of like your personal story, talking about sort of your exit, because you've kind of sort of infamously
That implies he has to be famous to a degree to be infamous.
Was I famous?
well, I mean, like within like the supplement industry,
You
I
were
think
popular.
I think a lot of people knew who you were, and then you were making a little bit of buzz because you were paying attention. And hey, if I know who you are, it probably means that
Obviously, you made an impact.
you're making an impact, right?
You've
Hopefully.
in the
But
last
maybe-
couple of years, you modernized their whole sports nutrition segment.
yeah.
But
Thank you for that.
That's a tough baton to pass and a tough torch to carry.
That's small.
but you it created some riffraff,
Yep.
and ultimately you're ejected from this. So
Sure.
tell me the story.
So it was kind of a buildup effect, really. I mean, I don't have to sugarcoat it. I think there was some, not malice or ill intent, but some lines that were crossed. Actually,
Maybe you changed too much. You changed too many things.
I think it was changed too fast.
Maybe, yeah. That's probably what I would go
And
with.
I think it was dramatic change too fast while also trying to not protect my image, because I wasn't a corporate junkie, right? I didn't see Walmart's perception that I was supposed to be emulating day in and day out, right?
But that's kind of like what you're also fighting against here.
Yeah.
Like I will be your advocate here, because the changes that I have seen to the sports nutrition segment of Walmart have been nothing but progressive in the best ways.
Yeah.
And where you have things like NutriBio, you have things like Ryse, you have Ghost Energy that's down there, but even that's beverage category. But you have these modern brands that are now coming into play here that actually means something to the consumers.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of value in that. But too much change too quickly ruffles feathers.
Yeah,
obviously.
I think it was more or less twofold. So when I got hired, like my director I told you was great. My VP was great. Like we had this huge vision to dramatically change. And we did that. And I think when the VP got moved on because he was so good to another business, he actually he moved over to beauty where he's absolutely killing it. Like as a male in the space, he's doing things that, I mean, beauty.
He's probably doing a lot of the things that you guys had already talked about.
It's experiential. It's like new brands. It's like social activation and stuff. And so I think there were some wires crossed or maybe some batons dropped.
Yeah.
In expectations of like leadership. Hey, I'm your boss. This is how I want you to operate. Hey, I'm your VP. This is how I want you to operate. And so I don't think those expectations.
That transition alone, where you've got someone where, in a way, like your boss looked like he was doing so well, and then moved on, and then like you got a new stepmom of like a VP.
Yeah.
Having to deal with that transition alone can really rock the boat of your progress.
Well, I think it messed with my head a little bit. It happened in 2021, and when Creighton got moved, it was 2 months before Creighton got moved on. I got a new director. And within that time, like he's super busy. He's a VP. I totally get that. I was trying to operate on my own, learn the business, like respond to suppliers, get in the mod process, like do all that stuff. And my director came in December. And so at that point, like I had been solo almost for some time. And so the expectations that I was like operating in the way that I should based on prior Walmart experience was just what I knew. Right. And so going through that, I was like, okay, I got to protect my image, got to protect Walmart perception. And in doing so, still trying to further the brands and the category as a whole by making the relationships and the connections. And so I wanted to bring that relationship and the social media aspect to the mod. And in doing so, I had to meet with them in person. Now, did I have to go to the gym with them? Probably not. But what's a safer place to go than somewhere we always go and just converse? And you're in an open setting and it's very informal and it's, I'm not making handshake deals and I'm not doing anything because I'm around other people. And I think that's really what kind of tipped the edge because it happened multiple times. I think I had Noel come in. Obviously, I had C-Bum come in at the last time. I had Michael Hearn come in because he had product in stores. But some of it was because of product in stores. Mm-hmm. Some of it was because, hey, I go to the gym. I live your lifestyle. I want to relate to you. You should relate to me. And I want you to trust that I'm going to do the best for the customer.
To bring them into the fold.
Which that's a very normal thing in our little supplement world.
Well, and
not on the corporate FDM side.
Sure.
But like, if you're going to go talk to your buyer at Rock's Discount or Vegas Discount.
Where did your new director come from?
I think she came from First Aid. So it was a very different business.
First aid category?
Yeah. Yeah. First aid category. So it's a very different business for her. She's been a merchant for 10 years. Very good leader. And I think that the newness of what I was trying to do. You don't have influencers in first aid.
No, nobody from Johnson & Johnson is coming around saying, hey,
slap a Band-Aid on.
Yeah.
It's not like her buyer is also Mr. Olympia.
Correct.
It's not like you're dealing with celebrities.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with high egos.
Yeah. So I think
a lot of these supplement guys are not
easy to work with.
They're characters.
They're not Harvard guys. These are cartoon characters. These are guys who probably sold nefarious things in high school, figured something out, legitimatized it, and then became professionals and then grew a company.
Yeah.
That's like half of the people that we deal with.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that's what maybe tipped it further.
Probably a lot different than Band-Aids.
Well, it's also like kind of a reflection of the culture shock that it must have been for them, because they don't know how to handle somebody.
Well,
like
I remember the first discussion we had. When you meet a new boss and they don't know anything about you, you don't know anything about them, you flex. I work out.
Yeah.
I'm a big meathead. Mm-hmm. But I actually knew stuff about the category. I've been living it since I was 17. You go through that phase of bullying to I want to be a bodybuilder to this is a lifestyle. I'm putting stuff in my body to look a certain way or feel a certain way. And that's what you emulate for the rest of your life. Mm. And so I talked to her about what a protein is, what it does, the different types, like what a creatine does, there's different types. There's nitrates, so there's different types. Mm-hmm. Like what are aminos for? And so we had that discussion. And I think, no fault on her. She was just doing what a merchant would do is protecting image.
Yeah.
And I think
there's a certain corporate culture. There's a certain standard.
Yeah. And it kind of evolved.
It's so frustrating because there's so much value that I feel like you provided for Walmart in that image that was in a positive direction.
Well, there's two sides of every story.
Sure.
So we're hearing yours now, but let's just say devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much change too fast.
Well, not only
get that
that, but
too.
like you're taking personal meetings,
Yeah.
or maybe not meetings, but you're socializing.
Yep.
They don't like that.
Outside of Walmart hours, I would say no. But in my heart, I was like, I'm the face of this business. I report to her. I can, if there's any, and maybe it's more of I trusted myself too much, didn't trust what others would say. I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. I can stand by that. You know, I never took bribes. Everybody we went to dinner with, I paid for myself, never got drinks with people because I knew that the perception of that is like, hey, you know, somebody's paying a big bill. And so,
But going back again, very normal business practice in our
should be
very normal.
It's very common.
Every time I go to an event, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And it was to get to know you. Like I learned.
Yeah, deals aren't happening. We're just hanging out
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah. You talk about my kids. I talk about what I did over the weekend.
So the word on the street is from some people. The rumor is that maybe you took bribes. Did that ever happen?
It never happened. Unequivocally. So,
I mean, he did say he paid for his own food.
Yeah.
which you have to.
Arguably, I would have put that on Walmart's dime.
Okay, yeah. So let's say, well, shouldn't Walmart maybe buy food for everyone?
That would be I've been in a situation with merchants and stuff where you have gone to dinner with them and we don't pay for the food, but they pay for the food.
Sure.
That's a different deal.
It's a different deal. And maybe it's negotiated on the back end or something. Somebody's paying for it.
all
And
comes
it's-
out of
Do you
the
have to
PO
have
at some
approvals of this? Do you have to like submit like
It might be something
documentation
like
for
that. Yeah. So to where you
Is there a handbook on how this stuff is treated?
and probably at a leadership level, I would say.
There's a company policy.
Yeah. And it was more so be above reproach. Right. No conflict of interest. And I think one of the newer additions was perception of conflict of interest. So ambiguous, right? I mean, you see me out at the store and I stop by and talk to you for 5 minutes and you're a broker and another broker sees me and they're like, he must be negotiating something without me, you know? And so there was a lot of FOMO in the category and partly because the stuff that I did want to slash and did slash the first year, it really shook up some business that had been existing for a long time. Some of those brands got that distribution back because they did make change and they wanted a partner and they did that. So that was good. But as far as bribes go, only thing I could say I ever got was samples. And that was product samples that was delivered to a Walmart facility that I then took home.
I feel like that's standard practice kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, product. You want to try your product? I like taking the product. I like showing people the product. Hey, I'm considering this brand. Check this out.
That's a part of your job though, right?
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure once everybody in the office has probably like passed it around and tried it and stuff. I mean, like either that thing is going in the trash or
Yeah.
you're going to take it home.
Well, so I even gauged further people in the office. I had, a 4-foot high thing with shelves on it, and we would get samples in, and I would put product on the shelf, and I would open it, and we would have scoops of protein to the point where, like, I had different associate merchants coming to my aisle to take a scoop of protein. I want to try that. My replenishment manager taking a scoop of protein, taking a pre-workout home. I want to try this. Let me see how it works out. And so I was getting real-world data feedback from samples I would get. But as far as monetary goes, no. I mean, I
What was the official means for termination?
official means was conflict of interest. And I think that played a part in it. Now, that wasn't part of what they wrote down, but the allegations that maybe I was doing something nefarious. The other piece was I created a supplement page, like a Nutrimedia, like a Supworks podcast, called Walmart Sups. And I think maybe some of the IP wasn't kosher, and they didn't like that I was doing that. Put two and two together. Maybe I'm.
Well, if not you, then who?
And that's just the thing. So going back to when Creighton was on the desk, we actually had what was called a social strategy, and it was built out to. At the time, I had a TikTok, and I was reviewing products. I mean, there was an image of my face on the freaking presentation, reviewing products, saying, "Hey, I really like the consistency. I really like the flavor of this. I tried the Jocko drinks the first time, and doing like a 1-sip review, like Bucky does." And it was me. I didn't have Walmart Sups on it, but it was Josh Winscott, and so people knew I was a merchant. And I was like, "Oh, orange is really good. Stevia flavor, not really good." Like I would just do it on camera, facial reactions and stuff. But that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then furthering that,
Some sort of trending, sort of like short reel, quick content.
quick form content,
Yeah.
and then also engagement. Because you got to think, a lot of these customers shopping at Walmart have never bought protein before. They've never bought a pre-workout or an amino acid or a hydration beverage. So they buy it. They see that Walmart Subs has a page and they want to tag them because they want to be seen. I mean, Ghost thing is to be seen.
Yeah.
Like they have a community following.
So you wanted almost to use it as a place to like repost and like.
And get feedback.
Yeah.
I think that could be great for Walmart.
I agree.
They just, so were you approved to do this or did you just do this on your own?
I did it on my own.
Okay.
I did it on my own.
Can't blame you.
And so that was approved, leadership change. And I actually went to HR. I was like, hey, I want to make sure I'm doing this right. Does this look kosher to you? I'm not monetizing it. It's Walmart Subs. I'm not acting as Walmart. And at the time, the goal was to, 1, repost, but 2, I wanted to take a picture of, boom, that's on shelf. That's a pre-workout. It's this retail. Here are the claims from the back. Totally orthodox. And leave it at that. Oh, I've got a rollback. It just landed in stores. Take a picture. Post it up there. Not super crazy, you know?
And they approved it.
They didn't approve it.
They didn't?
No, that's what led to the termination. So they said that, conflict of interest, it's perceived
This is when like being too proactive like comes back to bite you.
I agree. But I can't fault them because they're
a big business.
There's a big business.
They move glacially.
And the noise that could be generated from Josh is seen doing this. We don't want that image. Get rid of him.
So did they come to you and say, hey, we don't like this, please quit? Or was it just like, hey, you're done?
No, one of the initial discussions, it's funny.
Did it create like conflict with your direct reports?
No, because I didn't think I did anything wrong. There was an investigation into the page and it was a screenshot. I mean, I had 5 followers. I had my wife, I had 2 friends from college, and I had 2 brands that I had posted about.
Hadn't really even taken off yet. You're just kind of like
5 followers.
Yeah.
So I got a text, hey, who made this page? Okay, I'll text you back. I did. What did I do wrong? Well, I'm worried about the image it creates. Okay, I get that. I'll stop. And so the ask was go through ethics. Make go through ethics. Oh, I submit an ethics claim. In the time it took for me to create the page, post twice, and then get a text about who did this.
You only posted twice?
I only posted twice. Had 5 followers. Within a week's time frame, I had already had an ethics report done against me. So when I went to ask ethics if it was kosher, it was already in the works. It was already done. Yeah. So I went through the whole thing.
But that's something that could really help the section.
I agree. But wrong time.
They're just not ready for it.
Yeah. So
did you go back and sort of argue your case in point, or was it just like, okay, I get it. I'm going to not do this anymore?
I'm not the type of person to do that. Like
Well,
when they fired me, there was no blow up, right? They said, what happened with the investigation? This is why we're letting you go. Okay. I'll see you in 5 years.
Why 5 years?
Because that's how long it's going to take for them to finally call him back.
No, it was actually because of the conflict of interest termination. Like, hey, you're not rehireable for 5 years.
Oh.
So all my 7 years experience at Walmart down the drain.
But rehireable after 5 years.
Sure. Let me go back. Make change somewhere else.
You're just like a lobbyist in D.C. Private company.
Well, it sounds like you really
Policy.
do love it. Like you,
Back-ends.
Well, I lived it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted my kids to live it.
Yeah. You sort of bled blue.
Well, I bled protein, sure. But I wanted the customer was still the center of mind. Like, how can I elevate their experience? How can we continue the momentum? And how can we
But y'all were doing great things. As a team, y'all were doing great things.
Yeah.
Would you say since you've left, things have slowed down? Has it gone in the other opposite direction?
It's too early to tell, I would say.
Well,
Yeah, they're going through a new cycle. The new mod just dropped in August. So really some of the new brands are either starting to get traction, or if they haven't gotten traction, it's kind of like a lost cause.
So this new mod that you're seeing was all like your works. It
was me.
That you were a part of.
Yeah. Well, me and direct report.
Right.
Sure.
But like you don't even really know what's happening now.
No.
So you're yet to see what the next revolution is going to be.
Correct.
Since your time.
Wait till August.
Then you see what goes and what stays.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I've got faith. I mean, if they're on the right trajectory, like there was enough initial discussions made with brands like, hey, I've expressed interest here. You've got my contact, and like my director was always on copy on stuff. And so the connections are there, the contacts are made. if they want to further it, they can. And I think they have every means to. I think the person they have in there now is fully capable.
How has this affected your relationships with these brands? Because I mean, I'm sure some of these guys you got to know, and did they just fall off and no one talks to you anymore?
Well, nobody's ever asked me that, but yeah, some of it kind of trickled down. And you're gonna make me cry. Some of
That's fine. That's fine.
Some of the stuff that happened post termination was like, hey, we might have an opening for you. We might have a position for you. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I am eager. I want to stay in supplements. Let me get on a call. Mm-hmm. And most of it was just, give me category information.
Yeah.
Who's my competitor? What's their margin? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, we'll call you if we have anything. Mm. And so I waited for, I could probably count on my hand, 5 people that I interviewed with, right, that didn't actually have a job for me. They just wanted insight, which is a really downer, like a Debbie Downer.
But that insight is very valuable. Why wouldn't it have been invaluable for you to be employed?
Because they knew I'd give it up. I didn't give up everything, but like strategy-wise, like, hey, now I'm not on the desk. I don't have so many suppliers. Let me give you an hour of my time. 1, because I need a freaking job.
Yeah.
2, because I worked with you and like you knew I was a good person. I'm not just gonna like blow you off now that I'm not in a job. Like I made relationships with these people.
Yeah. So did you feel just really used?
I felt used. Yeah. There was a couple people too from this most recent mod that like, hey, I got you in. Peace.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for your loss.
Yeah, that sucks.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, that sucks.
Do you feel like the people that are there now that are at the desk that you once had, you kind of gave them like a springboard? You gave them a really good foundation to build on?
Yeah, I think I put the bullet in the chamber. You just got to pull it.
Do they even really know or care as to what it is that you're trying to do, you think?
I don't think they cared as much. I think mine, like I said, was more on a personal level of, and maybe not so much narcissistic, maybe egocentric, but I wanted to be the front man of a tidal wave of change.
I could see that.
You want to lead the revolution.
And maybe they didn't like that.
And they didn't like that.
Because Walmart doesn't have a face.
Correct.
Other than a smiley face.
Correct. And so I think learning coming out of this for me was, it's okay to operate behind the scenes. It's okay to be that.
Well, I don't know, dude. Like, I've had that same conflict myself. I had that problem with my previous employer, and I was like,
now he's on a podcast.
I fucking own one. Yeah. I said, if I'm not good enough for your sandbox, I'll go build my own. And maybe that's just how it goes. I don't know. But I know that you personally, I mean, this must have been a tough time for you. You have a baby girl on the way.
No. So,
you had
a year in recap. Yeah. Right. So January, we found out we were pregnant. February, we thought we lost the baby. We thought we had a miscarriage.
Oh man. That's
so
tough.
On the second one, we didn't know gender yet. And then, same time around that time was when I created the Instagram page. March, the investigation happened. And then May was terminated. And then my grandfather passed, and then we had a baby. Like, it's just been a whirlwind of a year.
Yeah, whoa. Emotionally, and you have to find a way to make an income.
And you're a man. Yeah. So, like, who are you to show emotion? You don't carry it. Like, leave it at home.
Yeah. It's tough to do publicly when there's a lot of eyes on you, and it's all that you've kind of built this whole thing up, and then it just drops off a cliff. And
you don't want to be seen as a crybaby either. Like, you're clawing at every opportunity you can to get a job or like stay relevant.
Yeah, you don't want to come off as desperate, but I mean, the truth is you are. But like, for good
lack of a better term,
but for good reason. Like you need an income and you have a family to support, and
I want to be happy working.
Sure,
like I want to be able to love what I did. Like the merchant role was great, sports nutrition was great. The turnover is insane at Walmart. If you're an associate merchant and you do a good job in 2 years, you're promoted. So you're out. So like whatever change I made in 2 years, had I not been fired, I probably would have been on a different business anyway.
You'd be doing toilet paper.
Yeah. So I think the timing that I had there was the right amount.
Yeah.
The exit probably would have been different.
Yeah, a little messy.
Yeah.
So like, I guess if you could say anything about the rumor mill or anything like that, like
squash it.
Yeah, I mean, looking forward, like what are you looking to do in your personal career? And I mean, you obviously have this wealth of information that has value.
Yeah.
Like, how do you apply that?
I think getting out of my own head with the information is part of it. Like the information I did have was relevant to those sets. the broader picture is that I know how mass retail works. I know how to engage with suppliers, and I know how to build relationships and position you not just in front of a merchant, but like I can look at your pricing ladders. I can look at your business model and tell you whether or not it's going to be great. Now, I'm not a financial accountant, but I've got skills that can translate to every facet of business.
Have you ever thought of like translating what you know to other potential retailers?
No, because it's scary.
Yeah.
Because I don't know other retailers. So
a lot of the same kind of, practices and methods, the EDI and all that other stuff, the Walmartese that is applicable to any major retailer.
That's true. I just have to learn it. I mean, all I've known is Walmart, right? Because I live there. So that's all I've done. And that's why I was like, wow, it's like I'm starting, it's like rebirth, starting over.
But it's nice though, that sometimes it's a relieving feeling to feel that way.
Well, it's taken about 6 months to feel that way.
Well, it will happen.
Like everything that's happening in your life right now is just so freaking heavy.
Sure.
Like it's hard to get up from under that. I understand that.
That's why we work out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes I feel like it is nice to be a beginner once again after a certain point.
Well, you need some sort of rebirth, but like you're starting this new gig where you're now in the broker position.
Yep.
So like, but it's not just for supplements. You're kind of doing a little everything.
Yeah, it does everything.
Yeah.
And you still run into the same people. I think the biggest frustration or learning curve is that you don't have access to any of the data or like built-in tools that you had at Walmart. Like merchants have it really good to the point of I can make a decision by clicking on 2 hyperlinks. Like it's super easy, but on our side, we're looking at category data. We're looking at, raw reports from Retail Inc., which is like the Walmart platform, and building out stories for these brands to go pitch Walmart. And Walmart knows it.
Yeah.
Because they've got a dashboard. They can see your brand in a nutshell, whether or not you're bluffing, so don't lie, or 2, is it a good fit for the future? Like, is it going to help my business in any way?
Yeah. So what do you look for now as a broker? Like, are you looking for new brands to approach you, or brands approaching you? Are you approaching them? Are you looking for like white space? Like, what's your strategy now?
And how does that align with the strategies of Walmart? Considering,
how does it align with?
Well, now the difference is you're trying to get not anything, but you're trying to get the right brands in because ultimately that's how you're going to make more monies.
Yeah, I think discernment's a big part of it because I can go after any brand and try to pitch them.
Yeah.
One, do I want to be that guy?
Yeah.
That's throwing, crap at the wall, hoping it sticks.
Yeah.
2, do I want to go after something that I'm passionate about? Do I want to go sell toilet paper?
Yeah.
Or push pencils? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
So the place that I work now, we are heavy in OTC, which is
drugs.
Yeah. Analgesics and stuff like that, and DME,
Special
which is like
Tylenol,
diagnostics, special
sleep
Tylenol,
aids.
and the natural segment. So we've got like natural foods, we've got natural ingredient flours and stuff like that. So that's kind of our niche. Because those are more of the niche segments at Walmart. Like you can't really play with the big guys, so you want to be in part of the emergent brand. Not so much in protein. I think it's still too fresh.
You think you're not going to try that category. You're not really trying to mess with those people right now. You think it's kind of like
not mess with them. I think.
How long do you think it's going to be into your future before you're finally, as a broker, sitting across the table from a merchant in sports nutrition?
Probably next year.
Okay.
So it's not taking time. It's just a matter of the brand. Like if I brought a credible brand to them and like, hey, this has got real legs, like it could run in Walmart.
I kind of think that's almost that's a wise decision for you because you need to let the rotation come around.
Yeah.
And let whatever merchant that is like take their stab at it for sure because they need to do that uninhibited.
Yeah.
On their own terms and let them have wins where they're going to have them.
Well, and I still do stuff like I'll text the merchant because we're on terms, and I'll send them pictures of like what I see in the rest of the market. Like, hey, here's an ad for I don't know Gorilla Mind or something that's blown up on every feed that I've seen. Hey, there's a new blender bottle at Walmart. It's not in your section. Like,
are there any brands that you would want to pitch, like Gorilla Mind?
Depends.
I think they're not priced right for Walmart. They would have to do a new thing.
Let's talk about that for a second. Because priced right is probably not the best term. So I think the misconception with Walmart is that everyday low price has to mean everyday cheap, everyday affordable.
Well, I feel like that's both a good thing and a bad thing for Walmart because it's kind of like set them a reputation of like these are a little.
But you guys don't
down.
have $49.99 pre-workouts. You
Yeah.
don't have $55 pre-workouts.
I think yet.
Do you think that day is coming?
I think it's coming. I think it's coming only if more space is allocated to that because there is potential.
I don't see them breaking the $40 a pre-workout threshold.
They almost did with Ryse.
Yeah. And I remember like back in 2004 or 5, seeing NO explode on the shelf for the first time was at about $46.99.
Yep.
And it was legit pre-workout. Everyone who was taking pre-workout
bought
at the
it at
time,
Walmart.
The NO explode?
Did you not?
No, in the very beginning of NO explode. I mean, we're talking 2004, 2005 here. Like it was definitely not at Walmart. It was before C4 was even at Walmart. So like it was far, far long ago, but still people were paying like damn near $50 a unit just to get that pre-workout. So like even as inflation has gone, however it's gone, you haven't seen pre-workouts really go up in price really all that much, respectively to everything else.
Yeah.
So I think if the goal is, hey, we're going to sell pre-workouts, you need to sell them at the price that everybody else is selling them at in order to be competitive with those stores. But I also think that Walmart has carved that niche at a lower price pre-workout. They do need to offer both. But they need to offer both. One, so they can be true to their customers who are looking for, EDLPs.
Yep.
And then at the second time is so they can compete with everybody else as far as like the specialty retail locations and like the independent stores too.
We are taking a short break from this episode to talk about today's sponsor, Aspire Rejuvenation Clinic. Explore the keys to living your best life with Aspire Rejuvenation Clinic, your trusted partner in wellness and vitality. Folks, we all strive for a healthier, more vibrant life, right? Well, Aspire Rejuvenation Clinic is here to guide you on that journey. Their team of experts specializes in hormone replacement therapy, weight loss programs, and wellness treatments tailored just for you. I turned to Aspire Rejuvenation Clinic when I felt like I was losing my edge. Their personalized approach and comprehensive treatments revitalized my energy levels and overall well-being. It was a game changer for me. And it's not just about feeling good. It's about taking control of your health. With Aspire Rejuvenation, you get access to cutting-edge treatments like peptide therapies designed to boost your immune system, enhance performance, and even slow down the aging process. Concerned about safety? Don't be. Aspire Rejuvenation Clinic treatments are FDA approved, and their team of medical professionals ensure your journey is safe and effective and completely customized for your needs. Ready to take the first step towards a rejuvenated you? Visit aspirerejuvenation.com to learn more and schedule your consultation.
That's one thing that I try to look at this year, and it gets really convoluted if you take a brand like, take Ryse SKUs. Let's just use Ryse as an example, and all they're loaded in their blackout SKUs, or Pump Daddy, right?
Pump Daddy, Stim Daddy, those top tier stuff.
Let's go Pump Daddy. $55 for a pre-workout, right? You can dose it how you want. We looked at potentially clustering them in big markets. So the 700 stores that Vitamin Shop has, or however many stores GNC has, we wanted to cluster them in those markets that made sense. So you might only have Pump Daddy in 300 stores. You might only have it in DFW area, but it's still there if you want to buy it.
The other thought would be to simply just offer less servings.
Yes and no, because from my perspective, I wanted to be aware of like the brand that you were building, and I didn't want to have the perception that there was a devaluation in the serving size. I think you saw that a lot.
That's really big. A lot of people think that going to Walmart devalues a brand. A lot of people think that they need to somehow create a specialty SKU that does.
But if you want the effects of that true specialty product, of that $55, pre-workout, then if you just bought half the amount of servings at half the price, like that gets people who don't want to spend that $55 like a chance to try it. Maybe not for as long, but it will get their feet wet and really help them make a more educated decision on whether or not they want to pursue that route.
It's kind of like what Alani Nu did with their protein. They made a smaller version of it.
Sure.
I think it was like a 20 serving.
I don't think that's a terrible idea.
I think that day is coming too. I think as you learn, as the Walmart customer learns more, because you got to think how many 180 million people per week going into Walmart. Jeez. Of that, like sports nutrition is like 2%, right? So there's potential for people to shop that segment. Now, every year we've grown customers that have either never shopped at Walmart for sports nutrition or have never shopped sports nutrition, but they shop at Walmart. So like we could see that type of data through credit card stuff, but Pump Daddy's coming. Like the higher priced retails at a less serving is coming if they can make that the communication gap, if they can bridge it. Because if you're a consumer, you're at Walmart, one, you're not using Stim Daddy every day or Pump Daddy. It's like a once a week type of thing, depending on what you're hitting. And the education has to be there. Well, why do I need that? I just bought a pre-workout. Why would I spend $15 on 5 servings or 10 servings, whatever it is?
I've had this exact same like thought and concept for like dollar stores.
Yeah. Or even features.
Yeah.
Give me a 10 serve protein that's a less cost, less retail. You can ship more of it. And it drives trial because you're not making a massive investment.
You're talking about like variety packs and different flavors.
Or something like take Elf,
Yeah.
Accent Sludge for an example. If they were to pack that down with both Elf flavors and you got 7 servings protein and it's $8, like not a big spend. It's a new brand. You've never tried it. It catches your eye. I freaking like Elf. Why would I not try that?
Removes a lot of the hesitation and that impulse buy.
Because the price point is a barrier.
Yes.
100%.
Well, and also that's a complicated packaging. You're talking about an outer pack and then 2 inner packs.
Yeah.
So that's expensive.
Well, or more so less, just ship it at a PDQ. Like you got a 30-inch tray and you're 4 deep or whatever it is, and you go three high on a...
Yeah, but then you got the cardboard.
Exactly.
But yeah, that gets tough just because packaging costs incrementally gets way higher than what it is in this format here.
Yeah.
So it's like not only am I losing margin on the volume, I'm losing margin on the fact that I'm spending more on packaging it.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't understand samples cost way more than finished products.
Sure.
Way more.
Yeah.
All those little baggies, all those little stick packs to put in another bag, to put in a box or whatever, then to ship it, like that costs more than to put it into
But you know what? If you never chum the water, the sharks will never show up.
You have to sample.
That's true.
Yeah, it's basically a
Have you
loss.
ever seen or quantified like results from a sampling? To be like, I handed out, I
when I
printed-
was at Cellucor at C4, it was, dude, we had massive amounts of samples and it definitely worked.
Yeah.
But all the brands that we work with now, they just don't want to really make the investment, to be honest.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Super expensive.
They would rather spend all their money on inventory of like finished good than, allocate a massive amount of money for sampling.
Yeah.
It's a long-term investment is what it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's also how much does it cost to gain a customer? Same
True.
thing. I mean,
yeah, but most people, it's like the perception of ads. Everyone thinks that like ads will do everything for you until you really get that like dialed in.
I feel like you don't have a customer until you get it in their mouth.
Yeah.
Get it in their mouth one time.
That's what she said.
And then and then that changes everything.
Yeah. That's only if you have a flavor-based SKU though.
Yeah.
It's not even just flavor. I mean, like it could be the effect.
We
You know?
sampled collagen with core culture. Like,
Yeah.
what's that going to do?
They're not going to feel anything.
Exactly.
Now, it's
a tough thing
with
to
things
sample.
like collagen, aminos, protein. Yeah, those all have to be flavor based.
Yeah.
You know, the macros can be great and everything, but if you ain't got the flavor, then
Yeah.
it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to do that, especially in the context of Walmart, because you're not exactly going to be able to sample out pre workout. We were touching on this a bit earlier.
Yeah.
You know, your user has to be 18 years or older. You know, and then they have to consume a full serving. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, go buy your toilet paper and then immediately go to the gym?
You would.
It's an impractical kind of thing. But, you know, to where, you know, some sort of sampling can go on there.
Yeah.
That would be kind of interesting to really see them get their feet into.
The pieces that I wanted to see some of the brands launch into was the experiential stuff outside of the market. I'm sorry, outside of the Walmart store. Gosh, not the market.
So like
A parking lot event.
Yeah.
So
kinda neat.
the biggest thing that I saw in the last couple of years, like NASCAR did a really big one. They do stuff with like Hot Wheels. They bring in really cool cars. I think one of the movies, like How to Train Your Dragon, did something really big when the movie came out. Like it's a lot of spend, but it created noise. And so a lot of these brands, thinking with my big brain, how do you cross market at a parking lot event, get approval for it, right? Like, okay, take Ryse, for example. Ryse has ties to Young LA. They've got ties to Helix. They've got ties to a bunch of other things and influencers. Create a parking lot event where you're showcasing the new product at Walmart, but also exposing non-consumers to some of the gym culture. You'll have people pick it up and whatnot. And
It's an interesting idea.
And then you've got different events.
Like selling Christmas trees out front.
Yeah. Well, you got the guys in the lumberjack shirts.
HEB is really good at doing this. You know?
Yes, they are.
They'll like every season when Hatch chili peppers come in, they get a guy in there rolling Hatch chili peppers.
Yeah.
That or the crawfish season, and they have a
Crawfish.
crawfish boil out
Yeah.
front.
But nobody wanted to do it. And we got the promises of merchant. Yeah, we'll spend
Walmart
all
just
this
needs
marketing.
to have a little fun.
They do.
They just need to have a little more fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely are not fun.
All right, so do we want to roll into our usual segments we do on the show?
Do you
Let's
want
do
to
it.
circle back and close that loop that there was no bribing that happened? It's all perception.
Yeah. I mean,
This happens, especially in corporate settings, to a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And
there's been a rumor mill that's kicked up, and it's affected you,
has.
obviously, emotionally.
And I haven't gotten to
fun.
it. I think personally, I haven't addressed it.
Yeah, you haven't had your closure.
I think I've had closure, but I think I've been advised or also like not wanted to expend the energy to text people and be like, hey, I know you heard this about me. Because what does that do?
That doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good
Yeah,
because I'm trying to cover my tail. So
Yeah.
under the radar, like never happened. I did get offers.
Yeah.
100%. I got offers to go to UFC fights. I got offers to go to NFL boxes of people that I was either getting pitched by or potential pitched by. And I was like, one, don't ever text this to me because on the back end, what you don't see is like some of these merchants actually have their emails on their phone and Walmart can look at your phone and do a forensic image at any time they want. Okay. So I can pull your text messages. Don't text me that because it's not going to happen. And two, no, like you should know that there is no amount of gift that you can give me that's going to sway my decision. And I have to be impartial.
Yeah.
So,
but you flew too close to the sun in other ways.
well, just burn my wings a little bit.
It happens.
Because you're working out and you're just making friends.
Yeah.
You can't have friends.
Boil it down.
All right.
You were before your time.
It's okay.
Well,
hey.
I mean, that's just ridiculous to me because like all my clients are basically my friends.
Yeah.
They're my friends. The only people I freaking hang out with are supplement world people. I couldn't imagine having a job where I don't like interact in a social way with the people that I work with.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Well, let me say this too. I thought we had a really great like chemistry going on with the people I worked with internal Walmart. And I think that's another one of the big learnings that I kind of want whoever listens to take away this. Like you hear, maybe it's cliche, like don't trust people. Like don't keep your friends close, your enemies closer, like whatever. I kept my friends closer who I thought I was. And I don't have any like hard feelings against them. Like I think they did what they needed to do to protect themselves and what their image was at Walmart. And to protect Walmart, I could care less about your personal feelings for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Business is business.
Yeah, it's just business.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
This section is called That's Bullshit, where we look up crazy things on TikTok and try to find out if it's bullshit or not. This week's theme is
protein
supplements at Walmart.
We need to do a better job of explaining like what people are because they can't see it. So
Unless they're viewing, but we don't even have a camera.
we don't have a camera on it yet. I've already explained
Can
it.
you
Cameras-
start like a screen share, like a screen record of your? You can do that, right?
It's going to look really weird on the camera. We're just all staring.
Oh.
We should have probably tested this beforehand, but yeah, we need to be able to show
You can
people.
do it,
We need to be able to show people what we're seeing.
Eduardo. This is going to make our segment this much better. Okay, you got
Beautiful.
Ryan Clark here. He's on TikTok. He's at Walmart.
Ranking.
And he's
Almost every whey protein.
You got the volume?
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
got every whey protein at Walmart ranked.
Oh, he's ranking them. Okay.
Two asterisks almost.
protein? Oh, man.
Every whey protein I've tried ranked from worst to best at Walmart. Ranking criteria is up on the screen right
Macros,
now.
taste,
Like I said,
personal
this is only
preference.
whey proteins and ones I've tried. In dead fucking last, 7th place is 6-star triple chocolate. Macros are
reviewed
okay, but I never want
pre-workout.
to taste this shit again. And in 6th place is Body Fortress, pretty much the same thing. 190 calories for 30 grams of protein is not the best. Not
Bad though.
Not terrible.
I would not give Muscle Milk 5th place.
Because 280 calories for 32
Oh,
grams
Premier,
of protein.
they're getting a lot
Versus
better.
4th Premier,
Premier's-
really not that bad, surprisingly.
Caramel popcorn
Cracking
flavor.
our top 3 is
Oh, cracking 3.
Donut. Not only did they nail the flavor, but 130 calories.
That was one of our
25 grams
favorites.
of Protein is pretty good. And second was pretty
ISO
much no
100 is
question,
always a
it's ISO
winner.
100 Cocoa Pebbles, 120 calories, 25 grams of protein. This shit is great.
Ooh,
Of
Ryse.
course, the number one could be
I would not have guessed that.
toast. This one's the 20 serving one. I've actually seen people get the 27
He's sponsored by
serving one
Ryse,
for less than
right?
20.
He's got to be.
He's got to be. Check him out. Oh, he's a coach. Man.
Let's see his link tree.
Let's get Goob on this
Link
guy.
tree.
Doesn't
Goob, you
look
too.
like
Where
it.
you at?
Doesn't look like it.
Independent. That's rare.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think, all right, so 7, 6-star, 6 was Body Fortress.
I would have put Body Fortress 7th.
Maybe,
I would have
yeah.
inverted.
Yeah. Because, well, at least 6-star, they do the collabs and everything.
They do the collabs. I think they also took out the same ingredients 6-star or the Body Fortress did, like the glutamine and the creatine because of costing. But then 6-star actually added in tart cherry for some of the athletes, which is okay for recovery. Macros aside, I mean, I think 6-star takes 6 over Body Fortress.
What do you think about Bum at 3 and Ryse at 1?
I think Ryse at 1 is because of the collab, but it obviously is not a collabed flavor. The cinnamon toast is killer. Like when they add the MCT powder in there, the texture that it changes. There was a brand.
I have nothing bad to say about Ryse's proteins.
No.
I really like the look of the Bum labels. I hate that raw logo. I hate that.
Do you hate it?
It looks like
Flintstones.
Flintstones. It's stupid looking. It looks
More
retarded.
Flintstones than the Flintstones, right?
Yeah, like it's a bad logo. Straight up. Sorry, guys. Raw. Pay me. I'll make you a better one.
Now, Diamantizing there at ISO 100, I can see them not being number 1 because they're such low carb.
Yeah. But it's a clean isolate.
Yeah, it's very clean, and I guess his macros he was judging based on were being low carb, low fat. But then, like the flavor bump you get out of that Ryse protein, I could see that seriously overtaking the ISO 100
For sure.
I don't know much about the macro stats on isolate. But those
It's
three
pretty middle of the road.
being in the top 3 makes a lot of sense to me as to why Muscle Milk was number 5. Muscle Milk is a crowd.
But also, those brands are newer. They're fresher. They're more
Fresher.
sticky. They're active, engaged on social media. They're ran by people who are like influencers.
And their price per serve is astronomical.
Everything except Diamatize, but Diamatize has a collab. They've got the collabs.
Everybody knows Muscle Milk's owned by Gatorade, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
but the taste difference you get.
I like Muscle Milk. I think Muscle Milk is
between
solid.
Body Fortress 6-star and Muscle Milk. There's a gulf there.
There's a gulf.
a big fucking gulf in between 7, 6, and 5.
But do you want protein at an affordable price? I'm thinking price per scoop.
Sure.
Or I think if you go back to the video, anyway, it was like 16 serves, I think, of the Muscle Milk. Maybe it's less, but it's like essentially the same price as an RTD, which you don't want in a powder.
No.
That's what it essentially is on shelf. So you have to really weigh.
Do you think price drives more or flavor drives more in this case?
I think Muscle Milk, the reason we kept them is because it's a unique brand that's been on shelf, and it's like a gateway protein to the rest of it.
And it's super
That's the only thing that's
approachable.
unique about it is because people, they go and have the RTDs in gas stations at convenience. Then this is a way they can get maybe more. Of
I
it.
recognize that. Let me try it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do like the branding of those labels. I think they look pretty good.
They look
Why
better.
didn't we have Equate in the whole lineup?
I think Equate got deleted this last
No,
month.
Equate was at the
Was
very
it down
beginning
there?
of the video.
They're like 8th or something.
Probably.
But I will say when we reformulated them, they were more like a Muscle Milk compared to because all the costing that happened in 2020 when we touched the Equate, we added in like milk protein isolate.
Cool.
And took out some of the stuff. So the texture was better, but it's still
So
branding's
is
not
it bullshit? Ryan Winscott. I mean Josh. Sorry, I said Ryan Clark. I just read that. Josh Winscott. Is this TikTok bullshit, or is it valid?
I think it's valid.
Valid.
I think it's
Aside
very
from the
valid.
last 2.
Aside from the last 2, yeah, I think I would invert those just
And-
because of the
and-
collabs and the ingredients.
2 and 3 could be anything. I forgot who was 4. Who was 4?
Muscle Milk? No.
No, Muscle Milk was 5.
6, 5, 4. 3, 2, 1 were like the top 3.
All right, on to the next
Oh,
one.
Premier Cafe.
Oh,
okay, interesting
yeah.
about Premier. The other story.
They're
I was
a
trying-
dark horse.
They are a dark horse, but I also said, you're a dark horse. How do you play more in the space? The RTDs just blew out cookie dough. They just did a buttered popcorn
Yeah.
flavor. How do you not
I'm
have a
excited
pumpkin
about
powder? How do you not?
I don't know.
You blow out pumpkin and root beer float every year. Why are you not paralleling the most popular seasonal flavor in a powder?
But
Couldn't
Premier
tell you.
Protein is approachable by everyone in America.
100%.
I mean, they probably belong a little higher on the list.
I think
overall.
I think it's more of like a geriatric brand for older people. That's probably
It
why.
looks geriatric. It
could
doesn't
be a
need
segue.
to.
They're probably like, we don't need to do pumpkin because the people
Yeah.
just come here for vanilla and chocolate anyhow.
I'm pretty sure they did a pumpkin in the RTD, maybe not.
They
the
did
powder.
the RTD, not the powder. I was like, how do you not have the powder?
Oh,
Geriatric. Have you seen the brand Control?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Tarl.
how do you how do you bridge the gap between geriatric and Control with meal replacement gaming focus to take over something or make the geriatric space relevant, like Boost and Ensure?
Yeah,
I think there's a huge opportunity there.
for sure.
I think Premier Protein does a fine job bridging that gap between like Boost and Ensure, and then like bringing it into more of these sports focused kind of things.
Sure. Yeah.
And that white space or that that gap needed to be bridged.
Do you think it's in the right spot on the aisle? Do you think it should be closer to maybe like the meal replacement?
I don't know. There's another dimension to like the merchandising segment here that needs to take the demographics into consideration.
Yeah.
Because they could belong anywhere. They could belong anywhere, but I don't necessarily see them as like a competitor to Isolate, to
No.
Ryse. to
Completely
any of that.
different
Completely
customer.
different customer.
It's like the mom, like buying it for their kids versus somebody going to the gym.
But like once again, like if
I see like my dad would buy like the Premier, like being like, I want to get into protein.
maybe I'm getting fucking old because like that buttered popcorn with the caramel buttered popcorn.
looks good.
My interest is peaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
you
I-
got
jelly-
my attention, Premier Protein, and that's Dimetized, by the way. It's the same company,
It is.
so you know.
So they know what they're doing. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's move along.
Every workout I've tried ranked from worst to
boy.
best here at Walmart.
All right,
This is
pause it.
5 of them.
Okay. Formula and personal preference.
He's excluding Hyde and he's excluding Beyond Raw.
So
Okay.
what's the premise? This is the same guy?
Same guy.
And what did he say? 5 pre-workouts at Walmart ranked. So same thing, but
That he's tried.
Okay. So
He's excluding
Pre-workout
Hyde
I've tried
and Lit.
ranked from worst to best here at Walmart. This is all 5 of them ranking criteria.
They're
So
probably out of
straight
stock.
Before anybody gets sad, this is kind of subjective, but it's mostly not.
Super
Dead last,
sport.
this is garbage.
That's Pro
C4,
Blends.
incredibly underdosed. And
Called
just
it
because
garbage.
It has beta-alanine and gives you tingles does not make it a good
Ooh, Redcon in
Fourth place
fourth.
is
Total War.
A good dose of caffeine at 250 milligrams, but everything else is kind of lacking.
Yeah.
This also tastes like dog shit, not gonna lie. In third place, a pretty good option, Bucked Up, 200 milligrams.
Bucked Up at
of
3.
caffeine. In second place, though, is its
Okay,
cousin,
woke, makes
Volcano,
sense.
330 milligrams of caffeine. And
It is woke AF.
formula.
The
But
flavors
first
are
place,
great.
And this is not biased in any way. It's just genuinely the best.
That was my last ad.
this guy's
know-
a Ryse homer. He's a homer,
He
bro.
is, he's trying to get
But
sponsored.
objectively, if you look at the whole segment right now,
that dude
I
has,
would
dude
say
has
that Ryse
Stella's-
Loaded Pre is top tier.
I think Ryse, Loaded is for sure first, but
And these are only pre-workouts that he's tried.
that
Yeah,
he's
he
trying.
doesn't have
Okay.
the bum there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the bum. He hasn't tried ABE.
Is C4 Ultimate there?
Yes, it is.
And so is Lit.
Okay.
So obviously, he has not tried those.
Lit for the same thing though. I mean, if you look at Muscle Milk or even Price per Serve, Lit is like $2.50 a scoop.
Well, and they brought the servings down, and you know they just it's a gateway kind of thing. You want
It
to try
is.
it, go for it.
And I think it did really well
Do
when
they have
GNC
the
was
C4
big.
original there, or is it just C4 Super Sport?
They got rid of it.
I liked the C4 original.
So I challenged
you do
them. That's what I said. I challenged them to get back to their main tiers of like C4 Original did really well. Why do you need Super Sport? Well, we want to differentiate the lines and we want to give you like an edge or something. But on the labels, I mean,
we need Adam to come on here and explain.
do you see ripped? It's
Yeah.
like 0.8 font.
It's tiny.
It's
Yeah.
tiny. So
And it's $4
differentiating.
more or $3 more.
That's at least 10-point font, okay?
At least 10 point. But you got to think on top of the customer buying this, what merchants also are taking into account is how easy is this to stock? How can I see this?
It's hard to differentiate ripped on there.
So you
Come
put
on,
the SKU
guys.
in the wrong spot, I buy it and then I return it, right? Because it's not the same product.
Well, and
Yeah.
I don't really think the RIP version is really worth $3 more at the retail level just to have that feature added on, which
It's
probably,
not.
it probably
It's-
costs the same to
No,
make.
it's just about the word ripped and people thinking it's a weight loss additive.
pay $3 more per
Whether or not it's
To get ripped.
efficacious.
fucking ripped.
Abs. Okay.
Sports.
All right. So,
Supplements to
so he's
avoid.
definitely a Ryse homer, and he's.
Ooh,
I bet he likes
avoid.
Nick Stella's every single TikTok. All right. On to the next one. Okay. Is it valid?
I would, without trying the other stuff, I would say it's valid. Let me think. He didn't try Amino Lean. He didn't try Lit.
I would rank Amino Lean below Super Sport.
I for sure would.
Yeah.
What about the bum?
Bum for
should
what
be
it
in the
is.
running.
It should
He
be in top
hasn't
5.
tried it.
He hasn't tried it. I
He
think
said I haven't tried it.
it was like a.
It was only the ones that he
preface.
tried.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think Bum's gunning for the top spot.
Top 5.
Should be gunning for the top
You've
spot.
got an efficacious dose that's
Yeah.
like core ingredients. The flavor's not bad.
Yeah.
And it's sub $30. It's $1 a scoop. Like
Big
how-
old
if this
55 ounce
guy
tub.
had tried the Bum pre-workout, I think
Top 2.
They would definitely be battling for number 1.
You think so?
It would be that one and Ryse top 1 and 2, and depending on his preference and how it's
they
flavored.
did great on the bazooka though.
Yeah.
The gum. Oh, it's so good.
I've never actually had a Ryse.
I'm not a
pre-workout.
bubblegum fan, so I mean, do they have more than one? They do have more than one flavor.
Not bubble gum though. It's just great.
In loaded,
Yeah. I asked the same
all
thing
they
about
have
Kool-Aid.
is fucking grape and loaded pre.
Give me a green apple Kool-Aid.
Give me
Or a
something else other
tropical.
than fucking grape.
Joey does not like grape.
He doesn't grape. Yeah.
Hey, you should try the Lost and Found grape. It's freaking good.
Let me sample.
Very
this.
muddled.
I will.
Muddled? Muted?
You know, it's interesting because as a grape hater, my opinion on grape.
I'm not a grape guy. That's my favorite Lost and Found.
I think I like the Alani Cotton Candy Carnival grape better than like the artificial, but I also like the cough syrup grape.
Yeah, it's like grape juice grape.
Yeah.
Not like true grape juice.
Hey,
Like
why-
grape drink grape. Grape drink grape.
Welch's collabs. Ghost has it.
Yeah.
Why has no one thought of Nesquik or like an Ovaltine?
Oh yeah,
think
people are
they
gonna
have.
get dicks hard over Ovaltine.
Oh, I would. Have you tried Ovaltine?
That should
I
be
have tried Ovaltine.
that should be
And
Premier's.
Ovaltine is low key pretty fucking good.
That should be
It is.
Premier's collab.
It should. That would kill.
This grape is okay. This is not a Dimetap grape. It's not a snow cone grape. This is like a grape juice kind of grape with carbonation.
I think it's like grape drink.
Yeah.
Grape drink, not grape
But
juice.
the
grape drink.
electrolytes definitely add to it. Like it's a better grape.
It's an easy
flavor.
drinker.
Yeah.
It's an easy drinker. All right.
All right, lost and found. You won me on the grape.
Joey's a Lost and Found fan all of a sudden.
All right, what supplements?
Just gun shy over the flavor.
Walmart. Okay, on to the last one, folks. Walmart supplements to avoid. It's our same guy,
So
Ryan
excited.
Clark.
Shout out to Ryan Clark for doing all the Walmart reviews.
Yeah.
This guy should be featured on via Walmart's website and stuff.
We're gonna
What's
tag him.
the
Tag him in the
over
post.
under that he picks Rise as number? Or
right.
no, this is to avoid.
If he puts blackout pump caps in number 1, I might punch the screen.
I'm going to keep an open mind.
That I'd avoid. There's nothing really redeeming about these. First off, anything marketed as
Pause.
a fat burner usually
Pause.
We talked about this. We also talked about this in our first podcast that the weight management category is kind of tanking.
It's been down in MULO. It's been down at Walmart.
It's been down in specialty.
Yeah.
It's down across the board.
Why do you think?
Maybe.
I would say part TV ads.
Okay.
No, because I don't think this demographic of buyer is really
Does
watching
hydroxycut
TV.
still move?
Yes.
I don't think it has anything to do with TV.
You don't think so?
I think most people go on with the narrative now that they're more educated, that they're like, well, you know, your abs are made in the kitchen, right?
That's what I believed.
So they're not going to believe in the whole fat of fat burner. Two, like I said, I think people are more like pro hormone stuff for burning fat.
Yep.
Like most of these people who are really involved in this, they're going to a TRT clinic.
I agree.
That's where they're losing their weight.
So there's an interesting part in here. I don't think he's going to touch on it. Irwin actually does pretty well with their belly fat, and they've got like another like a carb
I saw
blocker or
multiple
something.
products in Walmart from Irwin Naturals, and they are weird.
They are weird.
And how well they perform.
But Jeff, the CEO guy, is a formulator for him. He's very smart.
Yeah.
The one they brought to us it kind of piqued my interest. I don't know if it was accurate or not. It's the satiety peptide.
Okay.
And so it was a new
It's a
technology
DNF10, isn't it?
that I think that's what it was.
Keep going.
So I think he told us about all the technology. He was like, you take it, it's not a fat burner, but it makes you feel full.
That is not a fat burner.
It's not.
And if you play the weight management category properly, I've watched Irwin Naturals for a long time.
Yep.
They have some good stuff, and then they've got some fucking cheesy, shisty stuff that makes me pissed off about how well it's marketed.
Like
And
the
I bet
test boosters?
Well, I bet it sells a fucking shitload. It's not efficacious, but the way that they just, they pack these features into it, the dosages might be questionable, but like just by looking at the label, you're like, oh, yes.
Feel good,
yes.
feel good,
And
feel good.
I'm going to buy this.
Yeah.
So yeah, weight management's fucking tanking anyway. So yes, we agree. I mean, is he going in backwards order here? Or
That's
just
what I got.
The
He's-
number one thing
yeah.
to avoid at Walmart is fat burners.
So this is 5.
Fine. Keep going.
Juliet just has stupid ass ingredients.
Uh,
Number 2 mass gainer, tons of filler. I've said many times I don't like this shit. Next up, Pedialyte.
Pause.
Okay, so Pedialyte was super interesting because
How do you not like Pedialyte?
this was a really niche product because if you look at like Sam's Club, they've got one that looks just like this, same label, it's just not sport.
Yeah, they sell that next door. What's that brand called? It's like
Kinderlight or something, right?
Electrolyte.
Electrolyte. Yeah.
That's what
Yes.
it is. But the formulas are very close to Baby, very close to the other like advanced.
like the
I bet
same
you
fucking
this,
things.
this dumb Homer probably loves Prime though.
He loves Prime.
I fucking love Pedialyte.
This one was really
This
interesting.
is just good Prime. This is Prime but better. That's all Pedialyte is.
yeah.
You probably pay more for this though, for sure.
You wouldn't believe how well that does though.
Oh
I
yeah.
bet it does amazingly well.
Yeah, dude, I
And
freaking drink that all the time for hangovers.
Yeah.
people pay more money for Pedialyte because they just think it's some sort of magical nectar of the gods, which at times when you have the flu tastes like that.
Sure, it is.
But like, are we really gonna pay like $8 for that fucking bottle right
Oh,
there?
It's $2.
It's not 8.
That's $2.
It's like $2.78.
No, fucking.
It's like $4 in CVS.
how many servings is that? Is that one
I think
serving?
it's 2 or 3, isn't it?
Yeah, but still, like that, it still costs too much money for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sugar.
I bet
salty, sugary water.
I bet the salt ratios are way better than Prime.
They are.
If that was in an RTD at the front of the store, those guys could soak it up.
I agree.
They could soak up the fucking market.
In like a 8-ounce bottle. Like
They
a
need to get
small-
away from the
Even
fact
if it was a 12 or a
12
16, Abbott Laboratories.
two things going against it. That bottle and 2, the fact that it says Pedia in front of it.
Yep.
True.
And it was a unique SKU for the set.
It
Like
is.
they co-created with Pedialyte to put it Pedialyte Sport, which
They should, but I feel like everyone in the gym should probably be drinking this.
yeah.
Like it's like I'm gonna do my electrolytes, my
If they could
electrolytes, my
come up-
electrolytes. Yeah, but like this is the best one.
Yeah.
it just feels weird in the hand. They have so much potential that they could capture.
I agree.
Yeah.
Dude, they're already booking, bro.
Like, oh my god, look at all the shit in here. You don't want that in a sports drink. Just drink salt water.
Oh, fuck you.
Last look.
Sorry.
What do you mean?
Like, he doesn't know what it takes to make a fucking beverage. Fuck him.
You just drink a regular energy drink if you need it.
Okay. All right,
I,
there's plenty of bullshit in this one.
Yeah.
I think there is. The energy shot specifically because the demographic is not him.
No,
Like it's blue
the
collar
same
workers.
thing. It's just like it's just
People on a
compacted.
construction site.
The amount of people we saw buying that. So when we look at data, we can actually see your basket.
Yeah.
So if you're buying a 6 count of that or a 15 count or whatever, you're buying other energy drinks in other segments. You're buying Little Debbie's. You're buying on the go stuff because you're a blue collar worker. You're going out and working and you need caffeine. Like you fit in my pocket.
Pack my sack
Yeah.
lunch with a sandwich, Little Debbie, and a fucking 5-hour energy.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so the sports nutrition, like
That sounds nice.
we
Give me that.
every day.
Give me that.
We inherited that because of the crossover we did. We gave them bars and stuff like that. Just happened to be part of
deal.
weight management. This belongs in grocery,
Yeah.
It belongs in the energy drink section.
100%.
Yeah, and convenience.
And the volume they would do from that, you would have to retrain a little bit the customer where you find it, but your volume would increase 10x.
It's a cash wrap item. It should live over near the energy drinks.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be in the sports nutrition section.
Yeah.
or at the front of the store at the cash registers.
Well, they are. They've got like 2-packs and stuff.
Yeah, I
course
bet
they
they kill there. All right, so last one.
This guy.
New guy, Project Optimal.
Why Walmart should reach out to some
supplements.
of these like micro influencers who are actually like giving them some PR.
That was my goal.
Right? Like build an arsenal of these influencers that are already effectively working for you and just network with them.
And give them, or not even, because you wouldn't be able to pay them, but like give them a platform. You could scale
Make
it.
them fucking advertise for you.
Joey, that's grounds for termination. That's blasphemy.
Well, that's why I don't work for them. But I mean, either way.
But you scale it enough. Say my page was to get 30,000 followers, and then I post him and repost it. Then the people following,
Yeah.
they might
we'll
see
suddenly start following Walmart supplements.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And just make him like an affiliate ambassador and give him a rip.
Yep.
All right.
Supplement section has grown quite a bit. Here are some pre-workouts to try and some to avoid based on the price to formula ratio. First up, we got Mr. Hyde's signature priced at $19.98 for 30 servings. Now this formula is okay. It's definitely not impressive, but it'll give you a little bit of pump,
Pause.
a little bit of focus.
I like Hyde.
Bring it back a little bit to that panel. He's giving it a D.
I like Hyde a lot.
Now 30 servings.
I like the way it looks.
Let's take a look. Control scroll.
It's not OG Hyde.
No.
But I feel like they've actually added stuff in that is relevant.
If you double scoop this and you only get 15 servings out of it, it's $20, a little over $1 a serve. It's not terrible.
No.
Okay, next.
Keep on rolling, Dordo.
It'll give you a little bit of pump, a
give it
little
a
bit
D.
of focus, and some energy with 250 milligrams
I give it
of
a B.
caffeine. Next up, we got C4
If you double
Super
scoop it,
priced at $24.92 for 30 servings.
Oh, it's definitely
now, they
above
use two
C4.
proprietary blends in this formula, meaning you can't see the exact dosage of the ingredients. And even if they did display it, you'd see severely underdosed ingredients with relatively no benefits other than inflating the label. So I just pass on this one. Next, we got Beyond Raw Lit.
Wait, where did he put it on the grading list?
E.
E?
That's not even a grade.
Yeah.
That's right before an F.
Womp womp.
I would have gotten E's. I would have been
Once
set.
again, like in a best case scenario, you'd have to take 2 scoops of that stuff, and then you're getting 15 servings, $25. You're at a way higher price than you would have been with Hyde.
Exactly.
So I think Hyde actually, well, obviously, so does he.
Well, wait till you see this.
All right,
15
here we go.
serves for $25.
Ooh, they're telling the truth, and they're going to get penalized. Keep going.
$24.88 for 15 servings. This formula is noticeably better with higher dosing of ingredients like 3.2 grams of beta-alanine, 250 milligrams of caffeine, 3 grams.
They've got some dignity here. They've got
It's the same formula.
It probably is the same
It
formula.
is. It's just lower serves.
They got a couple of different things.
You sure?
They got that neuro factor. They got the Elevate ATP.
Then the GNC brand?
When did they drop this? The
Totally.
arginine citrulline combination.
Oh, that might have been a new.
Kio Oaxaco. That's the right ratio. Okay, keep going.
Grams of L-citrulline and 1.5 grams of nitrosity. So Lit will be the best choice of these 3 pre-workouts.
I agree.
However, keep in mind that Lit has 15 servings compared to the others.
But they're
30
telling
servings.
the
In part
truth.
2, I'll
Yeah.
cover Bucked Up, Ryse, and other supplement brands. So make sure to follow for more supplement breakdowns and.
I don't like how he's looking at me.
No.
He's looking through us.
He's wearing a Yankee hat. This guy's done.
Is there a part 2? Do we get to see the part 2?
Oh, fine. I thought that was the last one, but he got us. He
Oh,
hooked
he's
us.
doing a specialty, I think.
Oh, he's
No,
got
no,
Alpha
no.
line.
They don't have Superhuman. That's not Walmart. The fuck is with that E category?
Oh, discontinued at Walmart? Whoa, or discounted at Walmart. So he posted a rollback on there. Okay.
Hey, it's your friend Echo. Echo beater versus Walmart beater. Go to that.
I'm not here to debate wife beater shirts. All right, we can't find his video. But anyway, not bad. This guy does a lot of reviews. Cool.
I would say it's Fallon.
Yeah.
I would definitely put signature above C4, though.
I would put signature above C4. Well, so
If
did
it
he.
was, did he?
It was
it was D&D.
lit
Yeah.
Signature C4 Sport.
That's true.
Okay. We're done with that segment. What's next, Joey?
Were we going to review something?
What is there to review? I got stuff here.
I don't know. What do you want? You
Turn around and grab
About-
that Axe and Sledge Greens Plus. Or you want something? You want to do the Infamous?
Oh,
The
gosh.
super Infamous.
How big is that scoop? Like 24 grams or something?
36.
36. Gosh. Hey,
You wanna
can I
review-
take a little boys break?
You want to review Get Fucked?
let's have Get Fucked. I've never reviewed a product called Get Fucked.
I just want to preface this
Get FKD.
that Zach Zinnerly is just a cartoon of a dude. And
Okay.
and he's just a great dude to just be around because he's hilarious.
Cool.
And he manages to get the term "get fucked" basically before everything he says.
We're gonna go out tonight. Get fucked.
Yeah, he like really
Bars.
He really. I'm sorry for everyone who's hearing all the little.
So
mic
for the
sounds,
video,
but-
can we pull up the sub facts while I do this? I mean, if you want to do a screen recorder, whatever the fuck, I don't care. You can just put the image up there. All right, Get Fucked.
Yeah, pull it up on the screen up there and then screen record
This
it.
is a big tub.
pull that up, I'm
It's a
gonna be
big,
right back.
heavy tub.
Dordo.
It's a big, heavy tub.
It's a monster.
We are at 669 grams. God damn. Is that a 20-gram scoop? I'm just doing this based off math in my head. We are looking at the cherry taffy. What's the taffy part of this flavor? I don't know, but we're going to we'll see.
I've tried it. Tastes good.
We got 30 servings. They are advertising on the side. 4 grams of beta-alanine, 2.5 grams of betaine, and 6 grams of citrulline. We got pyridoxine hydrochloride and the methylcobalamin. Why would you use one coenzyme form when you could have used 2? You're trying on one side and you're not trying on the other side, which is a little bit disappointing. I don't give a shit about the dosages. even though they're quite low. You got really high B6, really low B12. Your manufacturer didn't have P5P in stock, but that's okay. Sea salt, sodium, okay. 50 mgs, 2%. Potassium chloride, 2%, okay. 6 grams of citrulline, I like it. Beta-alanine at 4 grams, I like that too. You're exceeding the 3.2 entry level for clinical dosage on beta-alanine. But is anyone really giving you any extra points for going 800 milligrams over the clinical dosage? Probably not. It might be a waste of money, but at least you're able to say that you got more beta-alanine than the next guy. Betaine anhydrous at 2,500 milligrams, which is the entry level for clinical relevancy. That's good. 1,500 milligrams of L-tyrosine. I like that. There's nothing really to complain about. Taurine at 1,500 milligrams. You know, I feel like that's kind of like straddling the line. You're either a 1 gram of taurine, you're 2 grams of taurine, or what, you know, but at 1,500, there's really nothing to complain about because you're over that 1 gram barrier. That's fine. 350 milligrams of L-theanine. You better justify this in the rest of your formula because that is one hell of a downer. So let's see what else is here. Caffeine anhydrous. We got it at 300 milligrams. You got 300 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous with another 300 of caffeine anhydrous, 350 of L-theanine. Is that necessary? It's not that much caffeine. I mean, I would at least.
That's a lot for me.
I would at most have 200 milligrams of L-theanine in here, but 350 is just like you're really hitting the brakes there on the caffeine anhydrous. Which, you know, if you're a hardcore stim junkie kind of person, you know, you're gonna scoff. If you're someone who is not a high stim junkie, then you're like, oh, 350 milligrams at the end. It's too confusing here.
So you're saying just lower the caffeine amount and then
either lower the caffeine amount, lower the theanine amount, or both, or like who are you trying to be here? Alpha GPC at 300 milligrams. That's tough because that's half clinical, and it's also 50%. You know that made it. If you 2-scoop this thing, you're really asking for way too much. It's 600 milligrams caffeine with 700 milligrams of theanine, and it's just to get the clinical on the alpha GPC. I will give this a blessing to take it for what it's worth because I'm not a huge alpha GPC fan. So like it's okay. That's fine. And in a lot of ways that can synergize with theanine in there too, but it's just not what you're looking for in a pre-workout. Dicaffeine malate is at 50 milligrams. Now, this does add a little bit of credence with his caffeine anhydrous. So I get what he's trying to balance out here. It's just that I think this is...
It might have a nice cruise feeling to it, though.
It's 75% caffeine. So he's less than 350 milligrams caffeine total. He's more than 325. He's about 337, which does put this, you know, a little bit more edgy, which does kind of necessitate a little bit of that theanine. I just really don't think that 350 milligrams is what you need here.
What would you do it at? Like 250, 300?
I would 2 to 1. So if he's got 335 total caffeine yield, I would put the theanine probably 165, 175 because there is a clinical, you know, synergy there at the 2 to 1 ratio that he could really lean on. It's just really heavy-handed on that theanine. And if you're already over 350 milligrams of caffeine, like, what are you doing? Who are you catering to? You're catering to the stim junkies or people who are like, you know, I don't really want it. This does put it in a stimulant level that is moderate. You know, me being an old motherfucker, I don't want to take this thing at 5 p.m., but at the same time, it's not going to get you fucked. I'll tell you that. It's not going to get you fucked. This could have more teeth, and the theanine is taking the teeth out of it. It's like, I'm going to save this for the end. All right, 50 milligrams of estrogen. That's a gold star on that one. Great dose. Huperzine A at 30. Oh my God, no. Okay. Huperzine A 1% at 30 milligrams. This is 1.5 times the clinical dose. You usually want about 200 micrograms of Huperzine A. And that's in nootropic formulas. I'm very dogmatic in believing that Huperzine A does not belong in a pre-workout because it shuts off the neuromuscular junction because it's an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. I would totally do it for nootropic. Huperzine A and a choline source and a nootropic, I would do it all day long because if you're sitting at your desk and you want enhanced learning and memory and all that kind of stuff, great. Some people are over here thinking, just increasing acetylcholine is going to enhance the mind-muscle connection, but that signal of acetylcholine does not transmit past the neuromuscular junction if you're shutting off acetylcholinesterase, and that is exactly what Huperzine A is doing here, and I don't like it. And it's a very high dose.
So Joey's not a fan.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful label, I must say. Shout out, Elliot.
So no, I don't think you're gonna get fucked. Okay, I don't think you're gonna get.
Well, maybe that's like how it's supposed to pair with Get Pumped, his other one. So maybe there's some sort of like
there you
synergy
go.
between those two.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to get fucked while getting pumped.
I love when that happens.
I was thinking of the other way around. You can get pumped while you're getting fucked. I mean, I don't know. Depends. You riding or being
You
ridden?
definitely got to get pumped first,
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of good things in here. I don't want to take away from that. The beta alanine's good. The
I've tried
betaine,
that
the
pre-workout and
citrulline-
I like it. I'm just going to tell you that. I
Well,
like
there is a
the
lot to like.
experience,
Now, here's the thing. Like, my opinion, aside from the Huperzine, it's a tisk on the Huperzine choline combo in here. But
and the L-theanine.
I would actually dig this caffeine amount with that theanine amount. I personally, like, your theanine's high, the caffeine's like kind of moderate high.
To me, it kind of cruises because I don't want to be cracked out. I kind of want to just.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to like get fucked with stimulants, but this thing is actually pretty fucking moderate. So it's like, you're not getting skull fucked. You're not getting raped. There's no prison sex style of getting fucked. It's like,
So you expected more from the name.
it's more like just you're gonna have a good time. Like you're gonna get fucked by someone,
Sometime.
but it's gonna be consensual. Like
And
that's what it is.
moderate.
Like, will you get fucked? Yes, but will it be like a traumatic, like kind of experience? No, but you'll be satisfied when you're done. And I think that's a pretty fair thing to say.
There you go.
That's
Joey's
a review.
Getting fucked is good in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, I agree.
Would I take it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like taffy though. It probably doesn't even taste like taffy.
I'll link you with Zach and maybe you guys can talk.
All right.
All right. Is that it? Are we done for the night?
Got any closing things? Anything you want to plug? Talk to any people who
People
thinking
need to
about
reach
getting into
me.
Walmart. How do they find you?
How do they find me? I mean, I'm on Instagram. I'm not private. I don't keep anything private. I'm on LinkedIn.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's my name, Josh.
Are you like
Winscott.
actively looking for new things to merchandise in Walmart? Should people reach out to you or no? Or is, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to reach out to me if you want
Functional food kind of thing, right?
functional food, natural space.
Are you doing any consulting? Can you do that?
I do some consulting work on the side for a company. I first cut that out on the side. That's my main source of work is consulting. And so, we'll do any support you need for Walmart, Sam's Club. But yeah, that's about it.
All righty. Josh Winscott, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate the time, platform.
I appreciate you coming.
Yeah. Let's go get something to eat.